All right. What do we have here? AOC finally has endorsed Zohran Mamdani for New York City mayor. You know, better late than never. She's always one of those people who always like hedged her fucking bets and stuff like that and did like late endorsements and whatnot. I don't know if this is going to be like the nail in the coffin and this like guarantees Zohran Mamdani's victory. I mean, it's definitely not good for Cuomo. Let's be honest here. AOC, broadly speaking, is a very popular politician and has a very good social media presence. Blah, 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 blah. We all know the meme. Yada, yada, yada. And to be honest, like, let's be real here. Given how, like, petty of a fucking loser fucking Chris Cuomo is, it's also, like, that's probably, like, another factor that sort of played into the fact that she decided to endorse so late. Listen, better late than never. She decided to endorse. I know that Brianna Joy Gray, that sniveling coward and dumbass, was saying, like, pressure campaigns work. No, this is pretty in line with her, like, typical sort of, like, normal behavior. You had nothing to do with it, okay? You fucking sniveling moron and coward. But, whatever. But there was a debate. So, obviously, since I'm Canadian, this isn't available anywhere. So, we're using the fucking horseman's feed, okay? That's what we're doing. Okay. Because we love, I don't know, all this, like, stupid fucking exclusionary bullshit. What we got here? We're going to listen to the debate.
Good evening, everyone, from 30 Rock, and welcome to the first Democratic primary debate for New York City mayor. I'm joined by my colleague, News 4 Government Affairs reporter Melissa Russo, Sally Goldenberg, senior New York editor for Politico, and Telemundo 47 anchor Rosalina Beton. This is a 2-hour debate live on all NBC, New York, and Telemundo 47 streaming and digital platforms. Politico.com, Telexitos, and YouTube. This first hour also live on Channel 4.
No one wants to look at you, Vosh. Shaking my head.
By random drawing. Few rules for the candidates. For traditional question and answer, you'll have 1 minute to respond.
So keep in mind with how the sort of like, I don't know, quirks with the New York sort of mayoral sort of elections work. Basically, you need to make sure you have a sort of dude ranked in like every single ranking. And Majority Report has been constantly talking about this. Basically put in all 5 of the slots there, Zohran as first, and then have a particular candidate filled in for each other box. Because if, like, Chris Cuomo just gets completely shut out of the first ballot, he's pretty much just like El Cucaroni'd, and he won't be able to move on to the next round of the sort of, like, open... of the primary? Yeah, the primary. I was about to say, it's the ranked choice voting thing. But... Let's see how our boy Zohran does.
And we'll offer 30-second rebuttals at the moderator's discretion. We'll also be asking some questions where we're looking for shorter answers. A lot of ground we want to cover, candidates. And we also reserve the right to cut off your microphone if you ignore the rules, but of course we don't want to do that. The goal is here for you to hear each other. Let's go. Hear everything you have to say. Good luck to you all. We'll begin with Melissa Russo.
Thank you, David. Good evening, everyone. It's good to have you. We're going to begin tonight with the issue that polls show is number 1 for New Yorkers, and that is affordability. The cost of everything is squeezing residents in our city. New housing can take years to build, and we'll get to your plans on that a little bit later in the debate. But right now,
abundance
help residents immediately. So what's your one big idea to make the city more affordable now, and how will you pay for it? We'll begin with you, Ms. Adams.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me this evening. You know, I'm actually the only candidate on the stage who is actually doing the work already. We have a housing plan already. I have built and delivered 120,000 new units of housing, and now with the new proposal that we have in front of us, we have over 80,000 new units of housing that will be coming up and will be affordable to the people of the city of New York. New York is not affordable. I'm a mother, a grandmother, and I want my children to stay here, just like real New Yorkers want their children to stay here.
Thank you, Ms. Adams. I should remind everyone, this is a 30-second answer. We'll go to you next, Mr. Lander.
Eric Adams. Thank you, Melissa. Good evening, everyone. I'm Brad Lander. I'm the New York City Controller. I'm a lifelong affordable housing activist, and I'm a proud Brooklyn dad. Tonight, I'll show you that I'm the only one in this race with the progressive values to make the city more affordable, with the public integrity to sweep away the corruption of Eric Adams and Andrew Cuomo, and with the proven management experience, having already delivered over 50,000 affordable homes to actually deliver on my promises. I'll get 500,000 homes built over the next 10 years.
This guy's okay.
Okay, we're going to move on to Ms. Ramos. I want to remind
Yeah,
you
Lander's not bad.
Idea to make the city more affordable
That's
now,
true.
and how will you pay for it? 30 seconds, Ms. Ramos.
Thank you, Melissa. Good evening.
That's true, AJ.
Watching at home, thank you so much for holding this forum. Affordability has been top of mind for New Yorkers since before the pandemic, but the pandemic only exacerbated the conditions for New Yorkers. This is why I set out as chair of the labor committee.
Brad Lander is not
To
bad.
raise the minimum wage, to tie it to inflation, and I'm proud to be the last.
Like, if we're talking about the rankings, it's Zohran Mamdani is first, and then it's probably Brad Lander. He's not bad, from what I understand. He's not the worst. He's pretty all right. He's no Zohran. Zohran is better, but Brad Lander's also okay.
On that. I'm the only person
Cuomo was the
who has
worst.
already had a desk at the mayor's office, and this is why I know that the first thing I want to do on day 1 is enact a mental health emergency so that we can keep our streets safe.
Okay, Ms. Ramos. Mr. Myrie,
Sure.
your big idea. I haven't heard many big ideas yet, so if you can answer the question, please, in 30 seconds. Your big idea to make the city more
Thank you, Melissa. I don't have one big idea. I have 3. I want to deliver 1 million homes
homes over the next 10 years. I want universal after school for every kid in the city from age 3 to grade 12. And I want to extend pre-K and 3K past 2:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. My parents came here 50 years ago, worked in factories to put food on the table, where union members sent me to public schools, and that's how I became a state senator and why I'm standing on this stage tonight. That same opportunity needs to be restored for so many New Yorkers, and that is why new leadership is needed, not the leaders of the past that caused the problem.
Thank you, Mr. Myrie. Mr. Cuomo.
Thank you very much, and thank WNBC and Telemundo for hosting.
So again, keep in mind, you want to know where Cuomo got his fucking goddamn housing policy? Bro just typed that shit up on ChatGPT. Bro had no idea what he's doing. Again, his whole fucking strategy here is basically coast off of the fact that his name is fucking Cuomo, okay? That's like literally it. Andrew Cuomo, Chris Cuomo. Because this is sexual abusers slash letting old people die in old people's homes, Cuomo. I think Chris Cuomo's newscaster Cuomo, right? This guy's he's a vindictive, petty piece of shit.
Today in Buenos Noches. I'm running for mayor because I think the city is in real trouble. I think we have a
That's Andrew
crisis,
Cuomo.
Between the Adams and Lander administration. I think we have a fiscal crisis where the city is actually spending more every year than it is taking in. And I think we have a societal crisis where we have division and hate. On affordability, raise the minimum wage, put more money in people's pocket. More child care, after school care, and then, of course, build affordable housing. I was the HUD secretary. I know how to do it.
Thank you. I'm turning it over to Rosarina. Thank you, Melissa. Bienvenidos a todos. Thank you so much for being
Yeah,
here.
bro, it's trying to like defer to his authority that he used to fucking have as a HUD secretary. Still doesn't change the fact that he used ChatGPT in order to write up a fucking housing policy. Haha.
I'm going to ask the same question again, but please listen carefully. You have 30 seconds to answer. What is your one big idea to
No, that was Michael Bloomberg. Michael Bloomberg was the stop and frisk guy, I think. Not Andrew Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo was the governor of New York during COVID. And he's the dude who said, like, we are trying our best. And he did, like, all those, like, stupid, whatever, dumbass bullshit with, well, it wasn't only Bloomberg, but it was also, I believe, Rudy Giuliani. Giuliani and Bloomberg did both of that. But he is the dude who basically was just like, guys, COVID's like really stinky and bad. And like a bunch of people made like songs about him in celebration of his bullshit. And in reality, like a bunch of people started fucking dying in old people's homes because of his bad policies. You know.
make the city more affordable now, and how will you pay for it? Again, 30 seconds, Mr. Jason.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Now it may take a couple of years, but I think we need to address the housing crisis. Most of the people on this stage have called to freeze the rent, but I want to go one better. I think we need to
Whitney
20% by unleashing the private sector to build a lot more housing. This is a pie in the sky. New York did this 100 years ago. Boston has done
Yeah, bro, we totally need the private sector. Totally, man. Yeah. More developers getting more money to build speculative real estate assets. Let's go.
just in the past 3 years. So the key is, though, is to ease the zoning restrictions and all the other regulations that are tying
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Thank you very much, Mr. Mamdani.
Deregulation.
Thank you so much for having me. We are live here in the most expensive city in the United States of America. 1 in 4 New Yorkers are living in poverty, and I'm running to be your next mayor to make this city affordable. I will do so by freezing the rent for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants, by making the slowest buses in the country fast and free, and by delivering universal childcare. And I will pay for this by taxing the 1%, the billionaires and the profitable corporations that Mr. Cuomo cares more about than working-class New Yorkers. I will ask them to pay their
Real.
So we can have a city that everyone can.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Lee. Can I jump in for one moment? Mr. Mamdani, how will you convince Albany to pass that tax increase? Because from what we've heard from Governor Hochul, it's not really something that she's thinking about.
doing this?
How can you guarantee that will happen?
Wait, really? Nothing else? Oh, yeah. I wonder what prompted the moderators to fucking to ask Zohran that question specifically. Maybe something to do with saying taxing the 1%.
I have experience in this, actually, because in my first year in the state legislature, I came to Albany, where we had a governor then who didn't want to raise taxes on billionaires and corporations. That was then Governor Cuomo. And we actually overcame his objections, raised $4 billion in new annual revenue, and finally funded the very public schools that he had started for so many years.
Thank you very much. We have to go with Mr.
Another shot. He's jabbing.
Bronx native.
Get owned, idiot.
We actually address affordability is by ending credit scores and increasing income limits for housing applications and having universal child care that is happening not just after school but throughout the weekends. We pay for this by having a vacant apartment tax for those that are not living in New York City, by withholding taxes to DC that Trump tried to take against us, and making
That's
sure
not bad,
that
actually, yeah.
they had to. You have to tax what's
Yeah,
happening.
it's actually pretty not a bad idea. Yeah, vacant apartment tax, because again, what do all these like dumbass developers do? They just build the fucking apartments, not let anyone in, and just, or rather like price people out of with really high prices, and make it such that, you know, a bunch of like rich people with like foreign capital, or even just like a lot of people with a lot of money buy those as like speculative assets, and the units just end up being completely empty, right? And all they do is just like pay for like the mortgage of that, generally speaking, which is like pennies to them in comparison to how much money they get out of leaving it as a speculative asset. That's not a bad idea. Yeah, tax the fact that there's no one in there. That's smart. That's smart.
Square Garden. That is how you pay for it. That is how we afford
Thank you,
it.
Mr. Blake. Mr. Stringer.
I want to actually put forth a program that can get done for young families and for the people who built this city. And it's very simple. We need to use city-owned vacant land, 1,000 properties, and transform that land into affordable housing. That property should go to not-for-profit, to limited profit developers. Not
Abundance.
developers that can actually build the Mitchell-Lama 2.0 that we need. We owe it to the people who built this city and are now fleeing.
More fucking abundance shit.
Welcome the next generation of New Yorkers who will be here if we give them hope and opportunity and affordability.
Thank you, Mr. Stringer. Thank you.
Now let's turn to President Trump, who looms large over the city, given his proposed funding cuts and his interest in hometown affairs.
because of the tower?
Democrats say they want a mayor who will stand up to him. Mr. Cuomo, you've branded the president with bullies. Mr. Stringer, you called him a schmuck. And Mr. Lander, you put his name on a car and crushed it in a TV ad. The voters want to know how you will actually deal with the president if you are elected mayor. We have questions for each of you, and you'll all have 1 minute to answer. Mr. Cuomo, we'll start with you. You have experience collaborating and battling the president. Currently, his Justice Department is investigating you, following a criminal referral from Congress, alleging you lied during testimony about your involvement in a report that undercounted nursing home deaths during COVID.
Okay.
With that probe underway,
Okay, we're getting right into it.
Holy shit, good question. Yeah.
That is actually a pretty good question.
He started an investigation against me, against Kathy Hochul, against Senator Chuck Schumer, against Hillary Clinton. This is one of his tactics. I know how to deal with Donald Trump because I've dealt with him before.
Here's the thing with that one, Andrew Cuomo. This one may have some actual merit to it. Andrew Cuomo, nursing homes. This one's got some fucking merit to it, buddy. Like, Attorney General of New York, Letitia James, released a report finding Governor Cuomo has understated the toll. That's not Donald Trump who's doing the DOJ fucking investigation. That's the Attorney General of New York that's doing that. Had understated the toll of COVID-19 related deaths in the state of nursing homes by as much as 83%. The scandal was made public on February 11, 2021, when the New York Post reported that Melissa De Rosa, a secretary and aide to Cuomo, privately apologized to lawmakers for the administration withholding the nursing home death toll in fear of that the then president Donald Trump would turn this into a giant political football. Yeah, well, you know. Yeah, kind of has some credibility to that one.
Many times, we've had many encounters. We fought on a daily basis.
his supporters to
and I won many of those battles. I fought him on ice. This is not the first time he's brought ice to New York. He's done that before, and we fought him, and we won. So he can be beaten, but he has to know that he's up against an adversary who can actually beat him. And I can tell you this, I am the last person on this stage that Mr. Trump wants to see as mayor, and that's why I should be the first choice for the people of the city to have as mayor.
To follow up on that, though, Democrats also...
Hasn't Trump spoken positive? Yeah, like positive of Cuomo, like Vosh was saying, right? He probably wants Cuomo to win because he'll just like work along with him to make sure that the DOJ investigation doesn't like proceed, right? Calls Donald Trump a bully. Stop talking. Right? He probably wants like let's be honest here. Hasn't Trump said that he wants Cuomo to win because he could easily manipulate him?
Also raised some concerns about your testimony, so it wasn't only Republicans. But just putting partisan politics aside for a minute, how would you respond to voters about the congressional findings of your involvement in that report?
Yeah, first, putting partisan politics aside is virtually impossible nowadays. It's so toxic out there. The issue of COVID became a political football right away. It still is a political football between Democrats and Republicans, and even within the Democratic Party and within the Republican Party. And it's unfortunate. We should have been learning from the experience and finding out how we could be better prepared for the next time. But unfortunately, in this toxic environment, it's been nothing but politicized over and over again.
Okay, we have to move on.
You're a politician. Things get politicized. That's how that works, Andrew. Like, what? Okay, bro.
I just want to just add, the question was how would you respond to the allegations, but we have to move on. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't. Yeah, like he didn't answer the question at all.
Now, you have said that Mr. Trump's Department of Justice can't be trusted, and that was after the news broke of Mr. Cuomo's alleged reported DOJ investigation. First, quickly, just a yes or no answer. Do you think that President Trump is unfairly targeting Mr. Cuomo?
No, I don't think that it's unfair, but I have no interest in believing that they're actually pursuing justice.
Okay, second part of my
and
question.
To be clear, it's not unfair because Andrew Cuomo did lie to Congress, but ultimately we know that the Trump Justice Department and the Trump administration as a whole is interested more in vindictiveness and persecution of political enemies than anything to do with
Okay, so moving forward.
Wait, that's like a 10 out of 10 fucking answer, dude. Holy shit. That's so fucking good.
You are also a socialist, and because of that, why wouldn't President Trump target you, and by extension, target New Yorkers? You have 1 minute.
President Trump will target whomever is the next mayor of the city. President Trump even targeted his, in many ways, accomplice, Mayor Eric Adams, who has collaborated with the Trump administration at almost every opportunity, and still in the
This is fucking perfect, by the way. 10 out of fucking 10 here so far from Zohran. Because it's true. Yeah. Fucking Eric Adams wants a fucking, he's not looking to get impeached, but he's trying to get like a pardon from the president, and that's why he let ICE in to do a bunch of raids in New York. So, you know, great, cool, fantastic. Like, Eric Adams is a collaborationist with the fucking Trump administration.
midst of that collaboration, we saw that New Yorkers are being taken off the streets in their apartment building lobbies. We have $80 million being taken out of our city bank account. So I don't think there's any question that there's any mayor here that will be free from being attacked by Donald Trump. What's more important, however, is the mayor who will actually fight back. And that's what I will do. I am Donald Trump's worst nightmare as a progressive Muslim immigrant who actually fights for the things that I believe in. And the difference between myself and Andrew Cuomo is that my campaign is not funded by the very billionaires who put Donald Trump in D.C. I have to pick up the phone from Bill Ackman or Ken Langone. I have to pick up the phone from more than 20,000 New Yorkers who contributed an average donation of about $80 to break fundraising records and put our campaign in.
Yeah, please.
Cinema.
Mamdani, he's very good on Twitter and with videos, but he actually produces nothing for him to accuse me of lying. He also called President Obama a liar and said President Obama was evil. So take everything with a grain of salt.
He insulted DNC insiders.
No, you're going after the DNC insiders. No.
In government, 27 minutes, he passed 3 bills. That's all he's done. He has no experience with Washington, no experience in New York City. He would be Trump's delight. All right, brief response to Mamdani, then we have to move on.
Look, it's true that I don't have experience with corrupt Trump billionaires who are funding my campaign. I don't have experience with party politics and insider consultants. But I do have experience, however, with winning $450 million in debt relief for thousands of working-class taxi drivers and actually delivering to working class people.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani. Mr. Lander, you presented yourself as a tough-talking Trump resistor, but as mayor...
Yeah, that was not a good fucking rebuttal there by Cuomo. Yeah, you're going after the DNC insiders. Yeah, because everyone's a big fan of the DNC insiders right now, Cuomo. Yeah, dude, totally. I must defend the DNC and Barack Obama at all costs. Yeah.
You're expected to deliver, including aid for the city. So how can you do that if you're always at war with the president? You have 1 minute.
Look, when Donald Trump and Elon Musk stole that $80 million from New York City's bank account, I uncovered it, I rang the alarm bell, and I forced the mayor into court to get it back. You stand up and fight. You go into court when you are in the right. 1 week after he was elected, I became the first financial officer anywhere in the country to lay out where all that federal money comes into our budget with a really concrete plan for how we put money in reserve so we'll be able to respond. Look, with all the corruption that's in Washington, we can't have corruption here in New York City as well. It's not only that Andrew Cuomo lied to Congress, which is perjury, he also lied to the grieving families whose loved ones he sent into those nursing homes to protect his $5 million book deal. That's corrupt. That's what I crushed in that junkyard. So when I'm mayor, I will stand up to Donald Trump. I will make sure that we've got a budget that's ready. So when they come for our Medicaid, we've got an independent authority ready to keep
bad.
Care, housing, and education.
Mr. Cuomo, would you like to respond?
Yeah, please. Mr. Lander is a little loose with the facts. If he wants to talk about the facts on nursing homes, we'll talk about the facts. He's just parroting Trump's allegations,
I said it
which
long
are
before you
actually
did.
disproven by the federal government now.
Which ones are you talking about specifically?
In terms of the rate of deaths in nursing homes, New York is number 38 out of 50. Number 38. Only 12 states had a lower rate of death.
This is a really good hill to
which is
die
really something when you consider that we had it first and worse than anyone else. And when it comes to corruption, Mr. Lander knows corruption. Because
This is really funny that he's just dying on this hill. Yeah, that's true. This is oh man, we're actually 38th. That's still pretty bad, Cuomo. Like, nice meme.
Approved $500,000 of contracts to organizations associated with his wife, which he said his
But I would really just like to clear
even
one...
though the deputy reported to him.
I would just like to clear one thing up,
It's
Mr.
part of the
Cuomo.
corruption of the city.
It's a lie, and you know it everywhere.
I hear you. But the question is whether or not it's political and whether or not your congressional testimony was truthful. Were you, now that you've had time to reflect, involved in producing that report that undercounted those nursing home deaths?
Yeah, so far, Cuomo, he's not been answering any of the questions, and he's just been bringing up, like, basically attacks that have, like, no prevalence to the fucking questions or any of the fucking allegations. He's coming off as very bitchy, very fucking whiny, petulant, pathetic, wanting to just defend the DNC sort of, like, establishment, which is very, very fucking unpopular. Not a good look there from Cuomo, let's be honest here.
That my administration produced the report and it did not undercount the deaths.
Okay, but you're still saying you were not involved in producing it.
It's very clear. That's the Trump line, the MAGA line, right? Because this was during his election.
Okay.
The New York reports always counted the number of deaths where they occurred, in a nursing home or in a hospital.
Okay.
Now that all the dust is clear.
Okay, we have to move on, though. We have to go to the other
Everyone fucking hates him, dude.
Will you acknowledge the deaths?
Okay.
I mean, it's a very black and white. Did you lie to Congress, or will you acknowledge the deaths?
Literally, Cuomo's being a lightning rod. I genuinely think if Cuomo wasn't in this race, Mamdani would be getting the attacks. But because Cuomo's here, he's actually being a lightning rod. He's doing his job.
People die.
Good job. Keep
All right, here's a chance to answer the question as Melissa presented it. Yes. No, I told Congress the truth.
Yeah, he's getting kind of fucking owned right now.
All counted.
Just keep talking about this the whole time. It's Mamdani versus Cuomo, okay? If
Shows
he
that
does
compared
poorly,
to what
Mamdani
other
wins.
states went through, we had it first and worst, and that only 12 states had a lower rate of death. We should really be thanking the women and men who worked on those nursing homes and didn't
Okay,
experience
very quick yes or no follow-up, if I may. Just the question is, were you involved in the producing of that report? It's just a yes or no question.
I was very aware of the report. I spoke to it at press conferences.
No, before we
He's still not answering the question.
Okay, we're going to move on. We're not getting an answer. We're not
Stand
getting...
by the report.
As to whether or not you were
Let's move on. Mr. Mayor Adams and Governor Cuomo negotiated with Trump. Former Governor Cuomo...
God, this is looking really bad for Cuomo right now. So bad.
Watching at home who are afraid to send their children to school, to the families who are afraid to show up to court proceedings, seeing agents snatch people up doing the right thing. I want to speak directly to you in this moment because you're not hearing that communication. You're not hearing about a mayor that is going to stand up and have a backbone to stand up for our city. I'm the son of 2 undocumented immigrants who came here for opportunity. My parents could take me to school, they could take me to the hospital without fear of deportation because they knew the city would have their back. That's the kind of mayor that I'm going to be. One that stands up when necessary. Of course, we're going to work with the president when it's in the best interest of the city. But what he has demonstrated over these past 6 months is that he is not interested in helping the city. We have to grow our tax base so that we can be independent from the the federal government, and that's why I have a plan to deliver 1 million homes over the next 10 years. It's why I want free after school for every kid in the city, and it's why I want to extend pre-K and 3K to 6 p.m.
Thank you, Mr. Myrie. Rosarina?
Thank you, Melissa. Vamos a hablar de Trump ahora. You talked about fighting President Trump, but you also say in a campaign questionnaire that you seek partnership with him. How do you envision working together with him? You have a minute.
You know, we have already seen a very clear blueprint about how to elegantly school President Trump, and we saw it in Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum and how she led on negotiating the tariff scandal with the president. And so I'm here to say that not only should my administration litigate to protect immigrants, to protect gender-affirming care, but we should be ready to withhold our federal taxes when Trump unlawfully takes away funding from the things that we need. We have to be smart, and our taxpayer dollars are our leverage.
Thank you, Ms. Ramos. Mr. Stringer, the next question goes to you. Fighting Trump has been a key element of your campaign. Is there anything that Trump wants that you will be willing to give him in exchange for something that the city needs? You have a minute.
Well, this is why it's so critical to elect a mayor with real experience. Experience negotiating, experience understanding what the stakes are here. Look, Donald Trump is coming from New York City. He's hell-bent on collapsing the social safety net. He wants to pick kids off the streets, but he also wants to destroy everything we built in America in this city. So I know how to fight him because I fought him in Trump 1. When he was coming after us, I managed to divest $4 billion from fossil fuel. I divested from private prisons. I divested from gun manufacturers. He didn't slow me down. He sped me up. So right now, we need a mayor who's going to put aside $1 billion in a very, very
Mamdani's social media people are posting clips at lightning speed.
The banks and the next controller come to the table and strategize about how we have a short-term plan to get the city to the congressional elections. No one has more experience in city government and knows how to do that.
So, Mr. Stringer, the question is, if he wants something in exchange, will you give it to him?
I'm not quid pro quoing with Trump. What I'm going to do, and this is my strategy, is I'm going to organize the same thing that happened during the days when Ford said to New York, I'm going to go to our congressional leadership, Schumer, Jeffries. I'm going to organize this city and the city government to wage a fight in Washington to protect the epicenter of the national economy.
Thank you very much.
New York City.
Thank you very much. We're going to move on to Mr. Tilson.
Okay.
And the question goes to you, saying you've been blasting Mr. Trump since 2016 when you call him El Diablo in Spanish, the devil, as mayor. How can you make a deal with him? We're talking about pact with the devil.
Look, I think I've been fighting Trump for long before that nonsense came down that escalator 10 years ago this month. And but I do think we Democrats have to stop giving Trump gifts. Like when we let
Solidarity for the safe return of hostages taken by Hamas
with their defund nonsense and open borders, etc. One area that I do agree with Trump is that when a socialist like Zohran here tweets that the NYPD is quote wicked and calls to defund and dismantle the NYPD, that is madness.
Oh yeah, totally. Coming from the fucking stupid abundance agenda liberal over here.
Socialism is sinking our party and our city.
Brief response, Mr. Mamdani.
I want to be very clear. The police have a critical role to play in creating public safety. And when I speak to those very officers on the beat in the rank and file, I hear from them a frustration that where they joined the force to tackle serious crimes, we are instead now asking them to play the roles of mental health professionals and social workers. And that is why we are putting forward a plan to create a Department of Community Safety that will tackle gun violence, homelessness, the mental health crisis.
All right, Mr. Mamdani, we might get to those issues.
That is pretty much like the perfect response. It's unfortunate that he's getting cut off here because again, he's correct. What people mean by defund the police is the fact that police are given too many responsibilities, broadly speaking, throughout like American fucking society. They're expected to be fucking social workers. They're expected to be a lot of things that they're not supposed to be. So, you know, they want to, I don't know, like, we could do, like, the whole stupid LARP shit, talk about how they want to, like, fight serious crime or whatever the fuck, but are often saddled with doing tasks and stuff that they didn't fucking train for, or whatever the fuck, bumblefuck bullshit, yada, yada, yada. Sure. It's very difficult because of the fact that, like, defund the police is such, like, a poison sort of statement in the mind of, like, dumb fucking conservative media apparatchiks and Joe Biden, who is a racist. The main thing there, of course. It's unfortunate that this kind of like, oh yeah, dude, totally. It's totally we need more funding the police in order to be able to like have them continue being like I don't know, mental health workers and stuff right now, because they're the ones with all the money and shit like that, when in reality they don't generally want to do that. That's what defund the police actually wants to tackle. But all the apparatchiks in the media and like both parties incredulously decided to be like, actually no, we need to further fund the police and let them buy like more defunct old military equipment that they had before. But you know, whatever. We love deference to the fucking police and shit like that, blah blah blah, because they have like such ridiculous control of different municipal areas within the United States. Like if you don't fucking placate the police, they will just like, I don't know, bury you or some shit, because they're just, well, to be honest, they're just a bunch of gangs.
It's critically important. I think it's important in a moment when we have a candidate to my right who is absolutely mischaracterizing anything that we put forward in this
You
campaign.
can check his Twitter feed. He has not deleted the tweet that calls the NYPD wicked and to defund and dismantle the NYPD. It's still up.
Thank you, Mr.
All right, thank you.
Sure, man. Oh no, it's a
You
tweet.
highlight your past roles in the Obama administration.
It's the end of the world,
The
guys.
National Democratic Party, which has since lost the White House and is struggling to regroup. How does that make you effective when it comes to negotiating with President Trump if you were mayor in 1 minute?
Well, as the only person on the stage who's been a part of a team that has actually defeated Donald Trump, and as a black man who understands that Trump goes after black folk, just ask the Exonerate Five or Barack Obama, and like them, we will win. I have the experience to make sure we address what's happening in New York City. First and foremost, anytime Trump and Elon try to take our funds, we will withhold taxes ascending in D.C., specifically
working with companies that have contracts in New York City and say, you will not abide by unconstitutional behavior. Second, we will ban ICE at our schools and our places of worship. We will designate them as safe havens because there is no reason at all that ICE is going after our immigrants, in particular families like mine from Jamaica. Third, since
That's actually pretty good, yeah. This guy's not bad either.
You need to understand that there's someone right now who can lead New York City. You have heard people now not be able to answer the question, but they're saying they can actually represent.
Pretty solid.
I'm ready from day one because of what I have, from the White House to the State House to your house.
All right, thank you, Mr. Blake. Thank you, Mr. Blake. Ms. Adams, your most powerful campaign supporter is New York Attorney General Letitia James, an arch rival of President Trump. How would you ensure that you, and by extension New Yorkers, are not a casualty of their war?
Thank you very much. And you mentioned the Attorney General. She is the most notorious, the baddest Attorney General that New York and the nation has ever seen, and yes, she does endorse me. You know, when the name Donald Trump comes up, the first thing, the advice that I get from the Attorney General is that when Donald Trump comes your way and causes problems for New Yorkers, sue him. That is exactly what I am doing right now as we speak. We have an executive order that is in front of us that is illegal, that Mayor Eric Adams had his first deputy mayor sign. The mayor didn't even sign it, but the first deputy mayor signed it. And it would allow ICE to come onto Rikers Island, Donald Trump's ICE, to come onto Rikers Island, which has been illegal since the year 2014. I have a TRO, a temporary restraining order, that Judge Rosado feels that our case has merit. We have sued him, and New York will win. I will always be a mayor that will stand up for our immigrants. Donald Trump's ICE has no place on Rikers Island. Donald Trump's ICE has no place pulling our people that are taking their legal court dates now. No rights. Not in my New York.
Thank you, Ms. Adams. Sally Goldenberg.
Thank you, David.
Sure.
Public safety. It's a top concern for many New Yorkers, especially underground
Cool.
on subways, which so many New Yorkers rely on to get to work. We're seeing fewer robberies and overnight 2 cops on every train, but still many New Yorkers simply don't feel safe on the subways. We'd like to know what plan each of you have to change that. You have 30 seconds, and we're going to change the order and start.
Okay, isn't this like complete fucking nonsense, right? And the only reason why, like, if I recall correctly, one of the biggest reasons for as to why crime in the subways has been going down and down, even though there wasn't like really that much of like a big crime wave within the subways to begin with, is purely just due to the fact that, well, whoa, hey, not as many people were fucking using the subways as a result of like COVID and stuff like that, and also because of without the fucking congestion pricing. Now that the congestion pricing has been put in and stuff, and also COVID's not a thing anymore, a lot more people are fucking using the fucking subway, and as a result, crime has gone down vociferously within the fucking subway. It's basically like fucking non-existent, but you know, we're still gonna do the whole like saber rattling stupid LARP bullshit about like, guys, there's a lot of crime still going on in the subways. Yeah, okay man, sure.
You, Ms. Ramos.
Thank you, Sally, for the question. You know, right now, we want to make sure that we are recruiting and retaining police officers. This is why I'm offering a workforce housing initiative to make sure that we help them be able to keep New York City their home. We want to attract them here. I want to increase their entry-level pay. I want to stop investing taxpayer dollars in robocops and toys and actually think about the officers themselves. But we have to assess deployment and upskill our EMS workers to fight the mental health emergency.
Thank you, Ms. Ramos. Mr. Myrie.
Thank you. I take the train every single day. I took the 5 train to this debate. So I'm experiencing exactly what New Yorkers experience, and that is things feel different on our subways. People tell you that you shouldn't believe what you're experiencing, that the numbers are down, and that you should feel more safe. But that's why people tune out of politics. Here are the facts. Things feel different, so here's what I want to do. I got police and clinician teams 24/7, 150 of them throughout the city. I want to ensure that everyone feels safe no matter what neighborhood they're in, and I want to ensure that we do that on my first
More
day.
cops.
Your plan to make the subway safer.
Yeah, part of it is we have to admit what we did wrong. The people on the stage, almost without exception, were all defund the police. Mamdani dismantled the police, reduced the police by 3,000, $1 billion in overtime, and now they're calling for more police. We wouldn't need more police if we didn't defund them in the first place.
I'm sorry, has NYPD actually been defunded? Did Mamdani do that from the position of city councilor? Jesus fucking
My
Christ.
first 30 days,
Nah, it's a pretty good fucking point. Yeah, dude. Like, were they defunded? Really? You live in New York, AJ? I have like no idea. Do you, like where do you like which state and shit? Do you like live in New York? But yeah, you know, more cops in the subway. We need to fund the police more. How much funding does the new NYPD have, right? I'm curious. How much money does the NYPD have? What's the budget? $5.8 billion. Yeah, man. That like, oh man, bro. The NYPD totally needs more fucking goddamn money. Oh, Pittsburgh-ish suburbs. 07. Not the burbs. But yeah, dude, totally. We need to fund more police and get even more police into the subways because that's heckin' gonna solve all the problems. Totally. Yeah, sure, man.
It will take every homeless person off the trains and the subways.
Suck off the cops.
We did it before, we can do it again.
Thank you, Mr.
When people talk about them feeling less safe, by the way, it's just homelessness. That's the only reason why. Homelessness is the most obvious, evident, like proximate feeling of criminality that people get. It has nothing to do with like actual rates of crime.
That's also true.
Homeless people, right? Like, I don't know, reducing housing costs, halfway homes, blah blah blah. You know how I feel on that. But like, it is disingenuous to rope that in together with the crime problem. You have to be upfront about it. You know, obviously Cuomo's a fucking autocrat, police state lunatic, so he wouldn't actually do anything for the homeless people, but like have the police fucking knock them around all over the goddamn city. Like what they do in
Bully more homeless people.
Right. All right, we're coming around. This is the third time he's literally lied about everyone. Are you saying
I never supported defund the police.
Are you saying you never said defund the police?
I never supported it. I used the words defund the police. I said I don't support it.
So you just said everyone else did that, but you were not acknowledging.
Mr. Cuomo, did you say?
Bully him. Bully the loser.
think that's
let
what
us frame the question here.
I think that Mr. Blake may be talking about something you said, which is that both are legitimate schools of thought. Defund or don't defund.
And,
You gave it some legitimacy in the
and
public.
I disagree with defund.
Yes, you did.
Yes.
Okay, and I'd still like to respond.
We're coming around.
We'll be coming around. We're coming around to everybody.
Mr. Joseph.
Yeah, I'm fully supportive of the increased police presence in the MTA. In fact, transit crime is down this year. It shouldn't
Gigantic
be
Israel
almost,
fucking
I shouldn't
flag
have to say this, but
The abundance guy.
fully staffed police that are out there enforcing the laws, and we need to make crime illegal. And this is now happening. Holy shit!
I never thought of that.
Out on the subways, where they are starting to enforce the lower level crimes, quality of life crimes, drinking, smoking, spreading out. Over the
We've already talked about why the crime has been going down. It's not because of more fucking police in the subway. It's because more people are using the subway because of congestion pricing laws. Whoa, crazy. But, you know, what does the fucking LARPy Abunda fucking agenda do? Did they fucking know any of this stuff? No. They're just like, guys, we just need more police. Totally. Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure.
the subway cars.
Okay,
And police are arresting more, and it turns out that 30% of the people they are arresting have criminal records of more
Okay,
than
I'm sorry, we do have to move
felonies.
on. We're at time. Mr. Mamdani.
In my Department of Community Safety, we are going to put together dedicated teams of mental health outreach workers who will be deployed to the top 100 subway stations with the highest levels of mental health crises and homelessness. We are actually going to address this in a manner that goes beyond the same ideas that we hear time and time again, recycled by the same politicians like Andrew Cuomo who brought us to this point. And if we care about the police force, then we have to actually listen to police officers. They are leaving this force, 200 of them each month. And when you ask them why, it's because of the force overtime. And part of the reason that
We're
that
at
is
time.
taking place
Thank you,
is to
Mr. Mamdani. We're at time.
respond to
Thank you, Mr. Blake.
It's just an unbelievable talent. You see how he's always looking directly to the camera too. He's cycling between the two cameras that he knows are like the close-up cameras. He knows which cameras are which, and he's looking between them because he doesn't know which one's actually live.
People who don't feel safe are young women, mothers, and grandmothers around Andrew Cuomo. That's the greatest threat to public safety in New York City. Now, specifically to your question, I've said very specifically, we need 1,000 mental health professionals.
Keep bullying Cuomo.
Police, then with body cameras on, go do precision policing outside. The police will indicate
Cuomo
they will not
keeps
train
making,
addressing mental health.
breaking
Let's
eye
utilize
contact.
those persons who need the help immediately. If we take those steps, then we can also make it a point to help make sure
We're
everybody
at time,
gets
Mr.
home alive.
Blake. We're going to move on to everybody, but I want to give everyone an opportunity to respond. Mr. Blake raised the issue of sexual harassment allegations.
Okay, before we get into that, I just want to say, because I want my opinions on this known. Obviously, you need some police in a city, especially New York City. Oh my God, it's so big. You literally, like, obviously, police are always going to be there, at least until we have, like, some kind of insane psychic future tech or whatever. I genuinely think if it's done well, Mamdani's approach of, like, rather than just say more police, I want to talk to the police, is a very good, maybe even the best avenue for making police less Hitler, right? You know, like reaching police where they are and being like, listen, okay, I know you have a hard job, which is true, and I know that, like, you don't often feel like you get a chance to contribute to the safety of the city because you're too busy doing bullshit or dealing with, like, random incidents that have nothing to do with your job, whatever. I understand that. Like, here's what I want to do to build a more comprehensive plan of action. I think that line is about the best you can get from a non-activist perspective, from a political perspective. If you want to run and win, I think that's a really good way of doing it.
Administration.
Just if people were watching,
No, it's pretty much the same sort of shit I over Sosa
they
said.
defunded the police. They reduced the number of police. They're now saying we
Talking
need more
about
police.
sexual harassment
We should
Mr.
reduce them in the
Cuomo,
first place. And we need mental health experts to address the homeless
Would you
mentally ill, and we do that by getting them off the train so we can assess them
That is my-
and get them to mental health
Would you like to
treatment.
respond to Mr. Blake's
Every
comment
woman
about
watching
sexual
tonight should listen
harassment?
right now. That Andrew Cuomo would not respond when
He's not going to respond to that.
He's such a hater.
He was just given a chance to actually address the
I agree with Blake, with
We
Mr.
have
Blake.
other candidates on stage and we want
I
to-
agree with the hating.
Mr. Stringer, could you please hear about your subway safety plan? Mr. Stringer, we are moving on from this question. You had an opportunity to respond. Mr. Stringer, please tell us your subway safety plan.
Kids, it's grown-up time, so just give me a second, okay? Let me straighten this out for you.
Thank you, Scott. We appreciate that.
You got it. So look, we're spending $1.3 billion in police overtime because we don't have enough police officers. We have the lowest police count in a generation, so we need to hire 3,000 more cops. But in order to get them, we have to go into our communities and get the wonderful, diverse citizens to come into the department, but we also have to make it worthy of doing it. That's something I'm going to do. So look, I will say this to you. The crisis that we have is too
Also, ironically, making the police like less of a Hitlerite institution would probably bring in recruitment like crazy. Like, it is potentially a very rewarding job, both like socially and in terms of pay. And one of the major deterrents is the fact that everyone hates the police, and the reason everyone hates the police is because they're fucking awful. So if you made them less awful, you would fix the recruitment issue. Like, yeah, no shit. Right now, police don't like doing their job because nobody trusts them. Maybe they should be trustworthy? Question mark. Like, if we made them trustworthy. The only cop interaction that I ever saw when I was in New York City, by the way, was when I was leaving one of the MTA stations, and there were 3 cops just tearing into a guy for using the emergency exit that everyone else uses to leave. Like, it's like, oh, don't go through here unless you have super extra special permission. He went through because why the fuck not? And they were just tearing. They were being real cunts about it too. Like, I'm sorry, did you see the sign right there that says this is not for you? What made you think it was like that? Like, that's their job. 3 of them. Was he brown? No, actually, he was a white guy, but he was pretty scruffy looking, so maybe he was homeless. I don't know. Whatever. The point being, like, you know,
That's true.
You can make this better, okay? Just about policing. It's about also helping the people who suffer from mental
Yeah,
illness.
just make the police less shitty.
Has the nerve to talk about defund when he signed the bail reform bill with loopholes that you didn't even read.
We're at time,
The bill.
Mr.
That's
Stringer.
something that really caused crime problems.
We're at time, Mr. Stringer. Ms. Adams.
Thank you so much. To address this claim that everybody's called for defund, I have never called for defunding the police.
That's
and I'm
great,
real.
That's
In
great,
2021
Eric
budget of the
Adams.
City
Congratulations on your
Council, we were in a season of COVID, and many agencies had to be reallocated. Their funding had to be reallocated. Many agencies, not just the New York Police Department, but many. The City Council, our funding was even reduced during that season of COVID. But my public safety agenda calls for police to be taken out of social work and mental health, for our police to be paid what they are worth. We have always supported a budget that reinforces our police department.
Thank you, Ms. Adams. We're at time. Mr. Lander, again, the question is about looking forward, your subway safety plan.
Yeah, I've got a dear friend whose middle school daughter who takes a train to school was pushed to the ground by a homeless person with serious mental illness. This is a big deal for all of our families, which is why I have a ready on day one, detailed, clear plan to end street homelessness for people with serious mental illness. We don't have to be a city where a couple thousand of our mentally ill neighbors cycle from subway to street to hospital to jail and back again. It's a plan called Housing First. It will work.
No, he's correct, and that sells. Yeah, housing.
That's a pretty good policy, yeah.
It's true that like even a tiny percentage of the population of a city
Based?
is homeless basically like ruins the city. Especially something like a subway where you like there are people sitting on the benches or whatever, like inside the subways, you know.
You have to go back though because in the prior round, the former governor told a lie sourced from Twitter about my wife, and when I go home tonight, I better be able to make clear it's 100% false and he knows it.
Thank you, Mr.
Mario
Lander.
Cuomo publicly campaigned and
Thank you, Mr. Lander. We're going to move on.
This can only be settled with blood. Okay, you have to attack it.
Okay.
Attack Andrew Cuomo.
Let's not lie about my wife. I'll be good the rest of the time.
Thank you. Okay, we are all
He went after my wife.
Toothpaste or beauty products,
Stupid
alcohol
petty
in the
bitch.
store, and having
and to wait for it to be unlocked. Shoplifting is a sad fact of life in the city right now, and many in law enforcement blame bail reform. Since
Remember, those changes in grocery stores and drugstores and stuff were implemented in large part after the Walgreens used testimony from a cop who made it up, saying that organized shoplifting was massively on the rise. In fact, the Walgreens CEO has since retracted that and apologized, and they've been scaling it back since. So the only reason shit's locked up now and you have to wait like 5 minutes for a guy to come over and unlock it is like inertia. It's corporate disinformation and the inertia of it.
shoplifters
Oh yeah, Vosh is 100% correct on that one. It's all fucking security theater bullshit. It's another fucking thing that plays into it, right? Like, yeah, dude, like 3 random fucking videos of like a bunch of black people stealing a bunch of bullshit is totally like becoming a huge pandemic of like people constantly stealing a bunch of shit at all fucking times from like Walgreens and all these other fucking goddamn establishments. So we need to have this like stupid lock bullshit and other security theater complete nonsense and whatnot. And that's the main reasoning for as to why, hey, you know, whoa, we have to have like some dumbass come out and fucking unlock all the fucking bullshit because whatever, yada yada yada. It's stupid.
can no longer be held in jail. So they get arrested, they most often receive a ticket to appear in court, and they're usually released to steal again. That's how law enforcement describes it again and again. So we have a few specific questions, and you're going to have 30 seconds to answer. Mr. Cuomo, we will start with you. Because you signed the bail reform legislation, Governor Hochul has made some changes since you did that. Do you think bail reform is working, and how would you stop shoplifting and other low-level repeat crimes?
Yes, liquidate homeless people. I actually saw in a CVS once, they had the section where all the like adult diapers were locked up.
Bully more homeless people.
There's no fucking way people are like, ding ding ding, can somebody come over here and unlock the like, yeah, I need the adult diapers, hemorrhoid cream, yeah, can we, yeah, please, like a home enema kit, can we get all this, please? Jesus Christ, man. Humiliation ritual.
Bully more homeless people.
If Mr. Lander says his office didn't approve 500,000 contracts that his deputy approved affiliated with his wife's organization, or the deputy reports to him.
Oh, Cuomo's not going to answer the question?
Easy enough to check.
Mr. Cuomo, you're using your time, just so you know, you're going to have 30 seconds.
Yeah. On bail reform, we all talk about how terrible Rikers Island is, and it is. It's a disgrace that it is still being operated by the city.
Your time is up, Mr. Cuomo, I'm sorry.
Per person, and...
time is up. I'm sorry, I am. Mr. Myrie, you voted for bail reform as well. How would you stop shoplifters if you were the mayor and other low-level crimes that are taking a toll on our city?
Anyone that breaks the law needs to be held accountable, and we made changes to our criminal justice laws because...
Still, like, oh god, it's all this, like, stupid fucking security theater bullshit, dude. I hate it so much. It's so annoying, and it's been made out of from complete nonsense so cops can have a fucking excuse to beat more people with like sticks and stuff. Like, that's the only reason why. They just want to beat a bunch of homeless people and manufacture a bunch of consent in order to fucking do that. Like, that's the only point of this bullshit.
Things needed to change, and here's how I know. I was robbed with my mom in an elevator in the building that I grew up in when I was very young. Her worldview is informed by that experience. We have to ensure that every New Yorker feels safe in every neighborhood wherever they are, and that is what I'm going to do as mayor. I'm going to return our police headcount to what it was in 2018, and I'm going to ensure that all New Yorkers feel safe wherever they are.
Time, thank you, Rosarina.
Yeah, Ms. Ramos, the same question to you. You voted for bail reform. How would you stop shoplifters and other low-level crime to take a toll in the city?
Well, we have a little more than 1,000 recidivists in the city of New York, and I've been hard at work in the Senate already, making sure that we're looking at treatment courts in cases of kleptomania. But clearly, there are organized rings that need to be taken down by the NYPD. So I'm here to say that there's accountability to be had, but we also have to make sure that there is a balance with the job opportunities that should open up if we address all of the crises that we are facing.
But let's remember that you voted for the bail reform.
Sure.
Thank you. Mr. Mamdani, you're opposed to rollbacks to bail reform, and you do not want to hire more cops above the current level. How would you stop shoplifters and these repeat offenders? What's your approach?
I want to sustain the headcount that we have in the police department. I want to listen to police officers who are leaving in droves from the department because they're being asked to do the work of mental health professionals and social workers. Right now, police officers pick up hundreds of phone calls a day that are mental health crises, hundreds of thousands a year. That's not the work that they signed up to do. And when it comes to shoplifting,
not quite the answer needed.
When the key here is to listen to workers themselves. They've spoken time and time again about the need for increased staffing in our Walgreens and our Dwayne Reeds. And when it comes to organized crime, we have to ensure the police actually hold them accountable.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani. Mr. Blake, do you see
a little bit of like a canned answer? It's actually a really tough question. What do you do in a situation where people are like aggressively, consistently committing low-level crimes? Like, what do you do about that? You know, because it's not great to hold people in jail over shoplifting. Because what does that lead to? Like a 12-year-old kid shoplifts a Mars bar and then he spends it. Probably not that.
Yeah, spends like goes to juvenile for that. Yeah.
But also sometimes there will be people who just go into a store with a bag and they will just pull everything off the shelf into the bag and then fucking leave. And it takes 30 seconds and the cops will never get there fast enough. And then it's like, do you really think the cops are going to do the fucking like detective work to piece together surveillance camera footage to like find out which car the guy got into later and then track him down to the no? So it's like pretty hard.
Yeah, probably not. That's a lot of work.
To the bail reform, and how would you end the retail theft as mayor?
Absolutely. So I proudly supported it when I was in the assembly because Khalif Broward was my constituent. When we talked about raise the age and bail reform and speedy trial, we had to do that. But we need to make it different and stronger now. And to your question, that means we have to hold repeat offenders more accountable, be much more attentive to that degree. But the broader dynamic, if we help New York,
I do probably agree with.
But yeah, like, you know, broadly speaking, I guess to add on to like Vosh's point there, again, like, what are most of the things that people are broadly speaking stealing? Like, average fucking necessities, right? Like, average amenities like food, cleaning supplies, diapers, so on and so forth, like water, blah, 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 blah. It's not very often like a huge pandemic where people are going in and like stealing as many like fucking goddamn like jewelry and like expensive electronic equipment. Like most of this like LARPers like to pretend that it is. No, broadly speaking, like the stuff that mostly gets stolen are like average goods, basic items that are needed for fucking survival. Are the cops going to want to spend a bunch of resources to get all that shit back? Probably not. But more so, this also plays quite heavily into the affordability crisis that exists, I assume, probably in New York and broadly speaking, everywhere in North America, right? It is more difficult than ever in order to afford, average fucking items. Because again, let's pull up the fucking classic productivity to wage gap. We love pulling this shit up. No one can fucking afford stuff, and that includes average fucking items. Because no one earns fucking money to be able to live. Rent is high enough in New York to begin with, right? Let's not even talk about utilities, car, gas, insurance, before we can even start thinking about being able to afford food and stuff like that, right? It's nonsense.
With that though, that we might be going a little bit too easy on recidivists. I feel like if you have 20 shoplifting charges within a year, past the point is okay, we're at least gonna hold your ass in jail while we wait for some kind of court arrangement. Maybe some kind of recidivism triggered or prior triggered bail reform condition where okay, if you have a few priors, no, but if you have a lot, yeah, come on, man.
Make and keep more money in their pocket in the first place, and then we wouldn't have people speaking about shoplifting. That's why we have local median income.
I don't know if I 100% agree with Vosh on this one. I'll be honest. Because you should think about it for literally 3 seconds. Why the fuck do they keep stealing constantly? Maybe there's something psychologically wrong with them, right? Yeah, that's a possibility that can only be addressed with fucking therapy. Sure, but maybe they just keep stealing and they're constant recidivists and they keep fucking stealing all the time because maybe they just don't have enough money to be able to put food on the table, right? And I feel like that's probably the case. It's more of a material conditions issue here. I don't know if I agree with Mr. Horseman on that one.
Have guaranteed income. That's where to help people on the front end, so we're not talking about them being pressed on the back end.
Thank you so much, Mr. Blake. Sally.
Thank you, Mr. Stringer. We're gonna...
The 3 strikes law was third felony, you go to jail for a minimum time, or prison for a minimum that's what I'm talking about. Not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about holding people in jail after a certain amount of recidivism, which is different, right? You're not automatically sentencing them with a certain duration in prison. You're just holding them while we wait for the court to come up.
I go to you with the same question. Do you see a need for any further changes to the state's bail laws, and how would you tackle retail theft as mayor?
Look, I've seen retail theft in my own neighborhood, walking into a Dwayne Reed with my kids and just seeing the shelves empty and then having to push a button, wait 10 minutes for a young staffer whose job is not to be my personal shopper. This is wrong, and that's why we need to put cops on the beat, working with the small businesses to root out the people who are constantly coming back to do this. But we also have to make sure that the people who are doing the stealing also have opportunities to get them the housing and the services that they need. See, we have to walk and chew gum at the same time.
Mr. Stringer, I just want, since you used your time, just a yes or no question. Do you see a need for further changes to the state's bail laws? Just yes or no?
Look, I think right now it's been changed a couple of times. When Cuomo signed it, he didn't do the work of a mayor or governor.
Okay, it's not yes or no. It's just a yes or no question. We're going to move on.
Attack Cuomo.
Same question to you. Do you see any need for changes to the state's bail laws, and how do you plan to tackle retail theft as mayor?
Well, the state just made some adjustments and some tweaks, so let's see how that goes. We need to take a look at the ringleaders at the higher levels of the folks that are carrying and actually doing the stealing. Low-level criminals are wasting away on Rikers Island. Some have committed suicide under this current administration. So what we need to do as far as public safety is concerned, I will fill the over 2,000 vacancies within the NYPD in my first 8 months as mayor. This is what we need to look at. Others are looking at bringing in thousands and thousands of police officers. We have vacancies to fill. This will work. This is where our NYPD needs better management.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lander, do you see a need for change to bail reform? What would you do as mayor about this retail theft?
I've got a detailed plan to combat retail theft, so the toothpaste is not always behind lock and key. You can...
What answer would you give? Okay, first of all, shoplifting doesn't hurt the business that much, especially big businesses. For one, my understanding is that they're usually insured for that. And for two, they're shoplifting what from Target. Depending on what they're getting, we're talking about a few thousand. We're talking about a fender bender level of damage here. So just keep that in perspective.
True.
For two, the issue here is that you want to create a legal caveat where people aren't spending time in prison because they shoplifted a protein bar, but people who are doing consistent or organized retail theft probably are spending time in prison. And I think for that you need more specific caveats, carve-outs for shoplifting, where you can charge more off of higher theft amounts, which is true, they do that right already. But also,
if I recall correctly, to add to Vosh's point here, it's that's what the $900 sort of limit was supposed to for California. I don't know if it was a statewide initiative or it was just for specific cities within California, right? In Los Angeles, Boy Meets Mini would probably know this better. I don't think he's here right at the moment, but that $950 limit thing or whatever that conservatives sort of fear mongered about constantly, that's basically what that was supposed to address. Is specifically, if there's a big organized crime ring, then who are shoplifting thousands upon thousands of dollars of items, then it's just okay, yeah, we can go after you, go to jail and stuff like that. But I mean, if it's a bunch of people that's stealing a bunch of other shit, then whatever. If it's a couple $100s for basic necessities, then it's just meh, whatever, who cares? The shop's already fucking insured and stuff like that. Who really cares? And you can talk about oh man, all the sort of vines that can be talked about, debated there, yada yada yada.
Also, with regard to the bail reform, I think that the more recidivism you engage in, right, the more priors you have, the more charges you have against you, they should probably be a little bit less charitable. Because if you've shoplifted once, in my eyes, okay, whatever, who the fuck cares? If you've been charged with shoplifting 30 times, eventually you have to expect the state's going to catch up to you a bit. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I just think it's really fucking complicated, and I do not think anybody can give a clear, short answer to this question. How to stop shoplifting? Jesus, nobody where has anyone succeeded in that, you know?
That is also true.
Look it up on my website. To develop it, I took lessons from NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch, who I want to keep as commissioner because crime's coming down and accountability is going up. It involves giving a panic button, essentially, to retail stores. So they don't have to call 911. They can report quickly. Investigations can be thorough. And I've actually taken the idea from the conservative Manhattan Institute that drug treatment courts need to be central in our response.
We just came two of the bills: the Retail Worker Safety Act with panic buttons and my mental health law expansion.
Quick response? Okay. All right, thank you. Sally, you have a quick question.
Yeah, well, I guess we also for Mr. Tilson.
Yes, Mr. Tilson, I'm going to let you
Social safety net would reduce desperation, therefore reducing crimes of necessity. True, but not all shoplifting is crimes of necessity. There are groups that will do mass shoplifting to fence the stuff they get. Like, the lefty response is, if you see someone shoplifting baby formula, no you don't, which, like, yeah, I agree with. I don't really give a fuck if like, a hungry mother is shoplifting baby formula. But there is a lot of shoplifting that is done
True.
clearly just like, well, you know, petty theft to turn a profit, you know? And it's difficult to carve laws that, like, treat these cases differently.
Fine, but just know that.
Yeah, I guess because Mr. Lander brought her up, just a quick show of hands, who else would keep Jessica Tisch's police commissioner? Okay, thank you.
I haven't decided yet. Okay. All right, Mr. Tilson, you said you would cut crime by 50%. Do you want changes to bail reform? What can you do to tackle this low-level crime?
Yeah, well, I do very much believe we need to.
Abundance guy, let's go.
Reform, both of which went too far. Like what I said earlier, we basically decriminalized all low-level crime. Shocker, it went way up. So
Wow, what a shocker. The guy with the giant Israel hostages flag is the most tough on crime person here, apparently. Phenomenal.
have more police officers.
Whoa, the abundance guy, too.
Legislation such that prosecutors can actually punish repeat offenders. I just talked to a cop right here in Midtown North last week who told me they're down from 300 cops to 120, and they have to fill out so much paperwork when they make an arrest that the criminals back out onto the street before they're finished with the.
All right, Mr. Tilson, thank you. Rosalina.
Thank you, David. Now we're going to talk about e-bikes. Bicycle deaths in the city have reached record heights in the recent years, with injuries also surging, many involving, of course, e-bikes. Just the past hour, Mayor Adams announced a plan to impose a 15-mile-per-hour speed limit on e-bikes. Do you believe this is the right way to improve?
I agree with this. Just flat out, like the beginning, I agree with this. I feel like we're reaching a point where, because of lithium-ion batteries, e-bikes and e-scooters have gotten to be like a viable way of getting around the city. And as a consequence of that, there need to be like, we need to put limitations on them the way we have with cars. I'm okay with that.
Safety. And what else would you do, Ms. Adams? You have 30
Sure.
She said 15, not 50.
30 seconds to answer.
You know, a lot of those the e-bike riders are people that deliver food to our homes, and they have families as well. I do believe that there needs to be a closer look, which we are doing in the City Council as far as regulation is concerned, but we have to be careful.
This regulation with 50 miles per hour, is this the right approach to regulate it?
Well, as the mayor normally does, he does not collaborate with the City
Well,
Council.
she's saying 15, right? Because 50 is higher than most e-bikes can go. I mean, that's extremely, that's like a car. She's saying 15, right?
Which, had we done that collaboration together, we might have come up with a different solution other than 50 miles, and I believe is a penalty, which we could have come together and realize something much more.
That's fast as fuck.
Just to clarify.
15.
Oh, they heard me. Okay, they heard me. Okay.
15 miles,
I
yes, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Adams. Mr. Lander.
I think the pedalist city bikes go 17 miles per hour, so that seems pretty good to me. But we've got to go upstream here to the folks that are causing this.
15 is way too low. I think 15 is fine in New York City. New York City is so dense. 15 miles per hour seems fine to me. It doesn't take that long to get around Manhattan, right? Like, I don't know.
I already like where Brad Lander's going with this. The upstream, like, root causes of this.
And run straight versus into a pole, and probably that's not good.
For Eats and Seamless and DoorDash need to be held accountable for the trips that are taken where they're making money. They've got the data to keep folks safe. And you can't operate a car dealership in the city that sells cars without license plates to people without driver's licenses. So we've got to hold the sellers of mopeds accountable. Those are motor vehicles, and they need to be treated that way. If you're going to sell them, they've got to have licenses. They've got to have license plates. They have to operate safely.
I think that's fine. Like
That's true. Yeah, I think that's fine.
E-bikes are much heavier and they can go faster, right? Like the potential danger of careening into a pedestrian on an e-bike is a lot higher, especially because if you're riding a bike,
Hitting people with the bike.
If you own a bike that you're riding on, you have ridden that bike. But people can just hop on like a scooter or a city bike with no biking experience because they're like for rent. So you're not assuming that level of skill and familiarity from the get-go. Much heavier, much less experience, and often it's tourists taking them and they're drunk. So yeah, mopeds have license plates. Might as well have e-bikes have license plates. Mopeds are great.
Ms. Ramos.
That's how it works in Europe, for example, in like Southeast Asia, right? They have licensing and appropriate licensing and fucking plates and licensing for that shit. But again, like, I guess like mopeds are becoming like a more recent advent, broadly speaking, if we're talking about American cities, right? Especially like, and in Canadian cities as well. You're seeing like more and more use of it. Yeah, mostly during like the the summer months, of course. Not so much in the winter, obviously, because it gets cold up here and snow. It's mostly the snow, obviously. And sort of the idea of like, yeah, dude, like, they probably should be fucking regulated properly, not regulated poorly at all, and have appropriate sort of licensing and plating and all this fucking shit. I have no idea if you need the license for a moped. Like, I don't know if it would be like an M license or something in Canada. I'm not sure though.
Well, we have to end the criminalization of our delivery workers and bicycle riders. A lot of enforcement has now changed from civil summonses to criminal tickets, and that is leaving breadcrumbs for ICE and leaving many of our community members vulnerable. That being said, it is high time that we post speed limits and adapt our street design for the use of bikes and e-bikes. The fact is that we have to...
Yeah, there is licensing for mopeds in, at least in the province that I'm in, which is Ontario. So, yep.
Get them off the sidewalks. We have to make sure that they are abiding by the rules, and this is why we need public education in English, in Espanol, in all of the languages that our riders speak.
Thank you very much, Mr. Murray.
There's no question that things feel different on our streets and that these categories of vehicles are not built for our current structure and on our streetscape. So we have to regulate, we have to hold the companies that are making money more accountable on this, but we also have to ensure that we are doing this in collaboration, doing this in a smart way, and ensuring that the enforcement on this is actually going to be going through. What we have seen is uneven enforcement in this space, and that's why there are older adults in the city that are afraid to cross the street because of how things feel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cuomo.
Yes, I think this is another example of just dysfunctional city management. We passed a state law allowing e-bikes. It was supposed to be regulated by the city. You've had all sorts of accidents, all sorts of warnings. The city has done nothing. The speed has to come down. City bikes voluntarily came down to 17 miles an hour. You have these e-bikes, some of them doing 25, 30 miles an hour. You have to bring down the speeds, but you also have to have them registered by the apps. They're the ones who are making the money. Let them license, let them register, let them pay the taxes.
It's all abundant stuff.
This issue is actually quite personal to me because I ride my bike in the city.
Abunda.
I'm the only mayoral candidate in history who ever rode his bike to the mayoral debate, as I did this evening. And those e-bikes have made things a lot more dangerous, not just for pedestrians. So I've been calling to speed limit them since the beginning of my campaign. I totally agree with that. And I will tell you, just in the past couple of months, since police have started issuing citations, that e-bikes are behaving themselves a lot more. I see a lot fewer blowing through red lights, blowing.
Thank you, Mr. Tilson. Let's remind you guys that these are the people taking most of them to your offices and your homes. Mr. Mamdani.
I find it ridiculous to hear Andrew Cuomo talk about how we need to regulate the apps when this is the very mayoral candidate who has a super PAC that received $1 million from DoorDash. How are you going to regulate DoorDash when they are giving you $1 million to influence your street safety regulations and your labor regulations? This model, this economic model, is one that doesn't just incentivize e-bike riders to break street safety laws. It often requires
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani. Mr. Cuomo, do you want to respond to that?
Yes. I work for the people of the state of New York, people of the city of New York. I don't care who gave me what. I do what is right, and that's how I.
But you don't feel compromised?
That's how I always run my.
Don't you feel compromised?
I just said the apps should be held responsible. They're the ones.
Cuomo's argument is, don't worry, guys. Those megacorps gave me that money with no.
Yeah, dude. Like, he's not like answering the question. He's not gonna fucking regulate them whatsoever. Yeah, dude. They're very altruistic in all the money that they gave you, bro. Totally.
No strings attached. Don't worry.
We should have to license the bike, register the bike. They should be responsible for the fees. They're the ones who are making the money.
Thank you, Mr.
And in terms of who represents who,
Thank you very much.
Mr. Blake.
Just want to make sure we internalize that Andrew Cuomo just said, I don't care who gave me what. That's not a man who's actually going to break the corruption.
Every time this guy jumps in, it's anything. I love him.
One of the reasons why we cannot have an increase of people getting tickets is that it will absolutely lead to the harassment of more communities of color and immigrants in particular. Now, we definitely have to focus on
We love shitting on Cuomo constantly. Let's go!
Have a 2025 city with a 1905 infrastructure. We've laid out the vision at BlakeFriendlyCity.com on how to address e-bikes as well as a new city.
Mr. String.
Let me start by asking, just answering the question. Yes, I think 50 miles an hour is reasonable, and I think the mayor is right about this. But in the time that I have, I do want to follow up about DoorDash, because that $1 million contribution costs the Rubicon. And the contributions of donors who are giving between $250,000 and $1 million are fundamentally buying the mayoralty. And that is something that we spent 20 years never trying to get to again since City Pass. You are writing a new book about how to take the mayoralty 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. Brief response, Mr. Cuomo.
Yeah, I live with the campaign finance rules. They're talking about independent expenditure committee. And let's remember who represents who here. I am the person on this stage who represents the working men and women of New York City. The labor unions have endorsed me over 650,000.
We have to move on. I think the issues.
Isn't he just lying? Pretty sure that's a lie.
We have another question here for you. I would like 30 seconds on this. You've all spent years in politics. What's your biggest regret? We'll begin with you, Mr. Blake.
Well, right now it's dealing with the campaign finance board, who is illegally not having me on the second stage, where they have now admitted in writing 4 times that they made incorrect determinations on matching funds. And if you go to our website, you'll see we challenge that.
Is that a regret? Your regret?
Well, my regret is that I've been trying to have patience with the campaign finance board.
This guy's everything.
Every time he speaks, he hates something. One of my regrets is having trusted the leaders within our own party, leaders like Andrew Cuomo. Because what we've seen is that kind of leadership has delivered us to this point where we are under attack by an affordability crisis on the inside and a Trump administration on the outside. And Democrats are tired of being told by leaders from the past that we should continue to simply wait our turn, we should continue to simply trust, when we know that's the very leadership that got us to this point. We need to turn the page.
Mr. Tilson?
Yeah, my biggest regret is that I didn't see Joe Biden's decline and call for him to resign earlier. It wasn't until after the debate that I became one of the loudest voices publicly, nationally, calling on him to step aside. But unfortunately, by then it was too late. It's not even mentally present to defend Israel competence.
Your regrets in all the years you spent.
The Democratic Party got to a point that we allowed Mr. Trump to be elected, that we've gotten to a point where rhetoric has no connection with reality, where a person who has served in government for several years, only passed 3 bills, believes they have the experience and credentials to run the greatest city on the earth.
Other regrets.
And the Democratic Party seems okay with that.
Mr. Cuomo, this question.
An absurd amount of candidates there. I guess the benefit of ranked choice. Pretty much, yeah, exactly. I mean, it would also like the same thing if there was a parliamentary system as well. You'd be able to get a lot more candidates. It depends on like the writings and stuff like that. You get a ton of fucking candidates. Like in like Canada, for example, you can have as many candidates as you want in a particular riding if you want. That happened, I think, in Pierre Poilievre's district. There was like 90 plus candidates, and that was done by like an activism group basically to show like the problems with the winner-take-all system that exists. Which is like it was more so like to present an argument like, yeah, this is why this is actually bad and stuff like that. But a biggest political regret. Oh boy. Let me listen to that again.
Mentally present to defend Israel competence.
Your regrets in all the years you spent.
The Democratic Party got to a point that we allowed Mr. Trump to be elected, that we've gotten to a point where rhetoric has no connection with reality, where a person who has served in government.
Not letting people die in those fucking nursing homes. Not the sexual harassment. Yeah, okay, sure, man.
For several years, we passed 3 bills, believes they have the experience and credentials to run the greatest city on the earth.
Other regrets.
And the Democratic Party seems...
Yeah, bro, totally. Like, again, it has to do, like, all the conflation of, like, Zionism and fucking Judaism fucking on... Yeah, totally, bro. Yeah. Whatever.
Mr. Cuomo, this question was about your personal regret in your
None.
politics?
I said I regret the state of the Democratic Party.
That's not-
Is
No
that
personal
we elected
regrets.
Trump.
No
No
personal.
regrets when it comes to cutting Medicaid or health care. No regrets when it comes to cutting child care. No regrets when it comes to slow walking PPE and vaccinations in the season of COVID to black and brown communities. Really, no regrets. No regrets.
We have to protect Medicaid for the city's retirees.
Okay,
No
we want everyone to be
Medicaid
able
for
to
city
respond.
retirees.
Okay, we want to respond to this. Mr. Cuomo, you only have a few seconds.
Yeah, but
I understand, but
it's not,
you-
it's
you-
not
you-
accurate. Medicaid went up under me. I led the nation under COVID.
I can't believe this is all happening to me.
Leading COVID.
No regrets.
I have
Damage.
Mr. Cuomo, I'm sorry. I'm sure that people at home must be wondering about your answer to this question because we speak to voters throughout the city, and quite a few of them will say, I'm not sure exactly what happened with those sexual harassment cases. We know that you say you never sexually harassed anybody. You say you're running to restore efficient government and efficient leadership. But in the past, your leadership came with what more than one investigation concluded was a toxic work environment, especially for women. And some of those cases are still ongoing. So I just want to ask you, since we're talking about regrets, you have apologized to some of those women back when you were still governor. What do you say to voters now, looking ahead to your potential mayoralty? Are you doing anything differently, and why should they believe that that same situation won't happen again?
Yeah, Melissa, let's just make sure we have the facts. A report was done 4 years ago making certain allegations. I said at the time that it was political and it was false. 5 district attorneys, Democratic, Republican, short, tall, looked at it all across the state, found absolutely nothing. One case has been resolved. I was dropped from that case. I said at the time that if I offended anyone, it was unintentional, but I apologize, and I say that today.
There was also a Justice Department investigation, but we'll move on to
Okay, we detour there to the issue raised, but we also want everyone to respond. Mr. Murray, biggest regret in politics?
I regret not having secured more funding for after school earlier in my career, but I want to turn to Andrew because during
These are short answers.
I have 30 seconds, correct?
Yeah.
When I was in ICU during COVID, writing legislation to protect my community, you were the most powerful person in this state, and you were in the governor's mansion taking a $5 million deal. Do you regret taking the $5 million, and will you give it back?
Yeah, first of all, that's not true. I stood up every day and fought for this state, for COVID, against President Trump, for PPE, for masks. I was in emergency
I was in
room.
the hospital.
I-
Gentlemen, we regret taking the $5 million.
We were doing everything we could every day to get the
People are going to hear you. We're going to
back.
finish
Let's
this.
take a break.
We have a break right now that we have to take. We'll pick up with the issue. I assure you. We're just about at the 1 hour break. We're going to continue this online. Channel 4 goes regular programming. But
Okay, we'll come back to this shortly because we're still not done. Okay, so far this has been fucking phenomenal. I have to say, I really expected more dogpiling on Mamdani. It seems like honestly Cuomo is so odious, Cuomo is so hateable that everyone is just like
Everyone's going after Cuomo instead.
yeah,
Yep.
even some of the more like centrist-leaning people on stage are taking every shot they can get. They're being like angry with it too, like just fucking personal. They hate this guy, you know, and it frees up Mamdani too because Mamdani's
True.
campaign has been very positive. It's been very positive. It's been very uplifting. It's been very like energizing. Hey, New York, we can do this. He's not really like an adversarial person. Like he can fight, but that's not his brand, right? So because they're being antagonistic for him, he gets to chill and be the like happy, confident guy. You know, he gets to be the cool, happy, charismatic, confident guy, smiling and delivering his excellently prepared canned messaging, while everyone else is just, oh, you have 30 seconds. Well, my main regret is that I didn't fucking get Cuomo. I didn't find him. You know, everyone else will be fucking crazy. All right, because we paused so many times.
welcome back to the second hour of the first Democratic primary debate for New York City Mayor. Today I'm joined by my colleague News 4 government affairs reporter Melissa Russo, also Sally Goldenberg, senior New York editor for Politico, and Telemundo 47 anchor Rosa Hinabaton. We are streaming live on NBC New York and Telemundo 47 digital platform, Politico.com, the Lexitos, and we're also live on YouTube. So candidates, with all of us on stage, so many, we want to give a chance for voters to hear as much as they can. We also have to try and get all the productive things done. So we are going to pick up Mr. Cuomo, give him a chance to respond to what Mr. Myrie said, and then we resume with Ms. Ramos and Mr. Lander and Ms. Adams to talk about the biggest red in politics. So Mr. Cuomo, just a brief answer.
Yeah, briefly, we led the way under COVID. Every day I got on that TV, I informed New Yorkers of exactly what was going on and all the facts, and I was fighting President Trump for the COVID, for the PPE. There was no doubt that in the beginning there was no PPE, and people were using garbage bags. But we fought vehemently for it. When the first phase had passed New York, we actually got through the first phase. It was then going to other states, and that's when we were trying to share lessons.
What happened to self-field vaccines?
Did I fucking should just freeze there? That was a little weird.
We had vaccines. Use it and
Explorer,
I
going
ran
full
for mayor in
schizo.
2021. I had been in the Senate for 2 years. I'd already passed over a dozen bills. I thought I needed more experience, but turns out you just need to make good videos.
Mr. Lander.
I was the champion for the Gowanus rezoning, which is producing 8,000 homes in my district.
Now that we switch to online broadcasting only, I feel like the vibes have changed like substantially.
I wish I had pushed for even more housing in my district when I was a city council member because we need it. But let's be clear, sexually harassed 13 women, marked up at state health department report to undercount nursing home deaths, has now forced taxpayers to spend $60 million on
Yes, we love shitting on Cuomo. Let's go. Keep shitting on him.
bills. Has heard absolutely nothing. Taken no
Mr. Lander,
responsibility.
okay, Mr. Lander,
David,
He does not deserve your trust.
you can't let him say that.
briefly, please.
Yeah. The report was done, 5 DAs, nothing has come of it. In terms of the paying legal fees, yes, the state pays legal fees. The state was sued, Kathy Hochul was sued, and I was sued. And the controller knows that because he was sued 15 times, and the city paid the bill. He was sued by parents of the disabled. He was sued by homeless providers who said he didn't do anything about the safety conditions. He was sued by people who said he mismanaged the pension fund. And the city paid.
I mean, it's just every one of those things is false. The thing about my wife was sourced from Twitter. Honestly, I have no idea where he got this one. He's lied to you so many times on this stage tonight. Takes no
All right, we're going to
responsibility.
Ms. Adams, if you can speak to your biggest regret. Thank you.
This is so good. I love the beef.
Believing that Eric Adams would be a good mayor for all
Wife guy.
There was no budget cuts from this mayor. I've had to save pre-K. I've had to save pre-K. I've had to save our libraries. I've had to save our cultural institutions because the mayor of the city of New York thought that it was his job to cut all of those and to slice and dice the livelihoods of our children, cultural institution, our elders, our seniors through their library services and their food services as well. I've had to be the champion to make sure that all of those services were restored to the people of the city.
Mr. Stringer.
I thought about this question through my career, and I would say that the biggest regret from a policy perspective was when my mom died of COVID before her time, and she was a great trailblazer, the first woman elected to city council in Washington Heights back in the day. She was a real fighter, but she lost the fight with COVID. I really wish, before I left the controller's office, that, like with so many other issues, I really was able to really build a COVID recovery plan for the
Thank you,
state.
Mr.
I just ran
Stringer.
out of time.
We'll continue with Telemundo anchor.
I thought for a second he was going to say, I regret that Andrew Cuomo sent my mother to her death. I was so ready for that. Like an insane fucking Oh my god.
That would have been funny if he did that.
They did a very important issue for my viewers in Telemundo 47. We're going to talk about immigration.
That would have been cinema.
As we know, President Trump wants to abolish sanctuary cities like New York, and his administration has applied pressure to force cooperation on deportation. So to understand a little bit more this issue, we're going to give you a couple of scenarios, hypothetical scenarios, and you're going to have a minute to answer this one. Mr. Cuomo, we are going to begin with you. Let's say ICE notifies your city-run hospitals that they must stop offering medical care to undocumented patients, or the federal government is going to withhold millions of dollars in funding. What would you do?
I've gone through this with Mr. Trump before with ICE.
So what will you do now?
You cannot give in to Mr. Trump and his demands. You cannot.
But let's say he's cutting funding.
You can't. It will never end. If you give in to him, he is a bully. I know him well. If you give in to him today,
So
you
what
will be
do?
giving him your lunch money for the rest of your life.
So what's the solution?
You have to fight him, and the way you fight him is not by suing him. Yes, of course you sue him, but he gets sued 10 times before he gets out of bed in the morning. Right?
Kinda like you.
That doesn't
And
bother
lawsuits are
him,
winning,
right?
by the way.
Kind of like you. That's fucking funny, dude. Like, again, keep in mind, why is Andrew Cuomo currently getting sued? He got a bunch of fucking money from like a super PAC, and he lost that fucking case, right? And was forced to have to return some of that money, and I'll be able to spend up to the fucking cap. That's funny.
We need a national coalition, which we can put together,
Oh my
of
God.
like-minded states and cities that will oppose these actions, and then we're going to have to eventually beat him politically in the Congress, but you cannot give in to his demands.
Thank you, Mr. Cuomo.
That basically, again, like, I guess, like, the same criticism here for the most part. He hasn't really said really much of anything, and has done, like, it has sounded, like, incredibly, like, bitchy and whiny and, like, a fucking loser, to be honest, for the most part. It has not been sounding good. And everyone just keeps attacking him, as they should. All the attacks on, like, Zohran Mamdani have been, like, just kind of weak and stupid and baseless. Oh, you only managed to pass 3 bills. And it's just like, yeah, dude, everyone broadly speaking understands, like, the government is extremely fucking dysfunctional. It's amazing that he even passed 3 to begin with. He's also, like, one of the youngest up there or something. It's silly.
Mr. Chilton?
Yeah, I mean, Donald Trump throws 50 tweets a day up there, and most of the time you just ignore him. If he actually does act illegally to try and blackmail us, you have to sue to restore that funding. I am appalled by what Trump is doing to terrorize immigrant communities, demonize immigrants in general, and that's an area I will fight him tooth and nail.
Mr. Mamdani?
Sure.
Our city is under attack by an authoritarian Trump administration, and it is under attack that is now being echoed by Trump's allies right here in New York City. And I say that as someone who would be the first immigrant mayor of the city in generation, someone who just yesterday had a sitting elected official call for me to be deported. This is not an intellectual exercise for the people of New York City. We deserve to have a mayor who is not funded by the same billionaires that put Donald Trump in D.C. We deserve to have a mayor who will actually fight back.
True.
And the way that we fight back is ensure that our local institutions continue to provide the services to each and every New Yorker.
The question is, how can you protect those people? Going to hospitals, how can you protect them?
Here's the thing. The Donald Trump administration will use the fact that they fund 7% of our city budget as leverage over us to try and give up whichever category of New Yorkers they are pursuing in that day. Ultimately, what we need to do is tell those same institutions we will provide them that funding and we'll get that funding by taxing the 1% and the wealthiest corporations right here in New York City.
Thank you so much. Mr. Blake, I'm going to remind
Base?
you
Tax the fuck out of them. Let's go.
It's true, by the way. Like, the most important thing you need to do is make sure that your jurisdiction is independent, right? New York City does get money from the federal. Look what they did with Harvard, for example, the federal endowment. They're doing it with Columbia now. The number one thing they can go after is your purse strings. So if you are capable of paying your own budget on your own, keep in mind.
Yeah, you maintain your own budget. They can't go after
When
you.
the government borrows, it just prints more money. With the city government, they don't have the Fed. They have to literally borrow, like on a loan, or get the money from somewhere. So making sure you're solvent on your own really insulates you against those attacks.
They're not going to offer care
True.
to immigrants. How can you solve this question?
As a son of Jamaican immigrants, where I was born with a heart murmur in North Central Bronx Hospital, and my mom that's watching right now, and my wife who's Jamaican Honduran, this is important for us to expand the conversation of what's happening. To your question, we create the protections by designating hospitals, schools, community centers, places of worship as safe havens where ICE is not permitted to enter unless there's a signed judicial warrant. Moreover, we have to expand the conversation. We've made very clear we will remain a sanctuary city to make sure that we are protected, full stop. But it also is important about how we have the rhetoric, that we will not tolerate rhetoric against our immigrant communities. The same way we will not tolerate anti-Semitic behavior. We will not tolerate Islamophobia. We will not tolerate anti-blackness and anti-Latino rhetoric. And that means at the same time we have to protect our nonprofits that are helping our immigrants as well, which is why I said you must grant as well as reimburse nonprofits earlier that are helping our immigrants, in particular our undocumented.
Thank you, Mr. Blake. Mr. Stringer?
Look, we first have to make it clear that the buck does not stop with Donald Trump. And that's why the very rainy day fund I proposed would immediately allow us to build back the health services that the federal government could take from us financially. This is why we need a mayor
Time to
who
build
doesn't
back
fly
better.
the mayor,
Again,
how we actually get
New
to
York
the mayor.
edition.
It doesn't stop there. Look, my experience has always been about fighting in Trump 1, and we won a lot of those battles. We won those battles during COVID. We never backed down, but we were strategic. And that's why we need to work with our Washington partners. You know, there are Democrats in Washington ready for the fight with a mayor who brings a confidence and a proven ability to deal with the economics of this crisis. But this is not a time for training wheels. This is not a time for somebody who has never dealt with the finances of the city
Thank you.
to be mayor of New York.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stringer. Now, Ms. Adams, we're going to go to you next. We're going to change a little bit the situation. Let's say that you learned that ICE is planning to stop immigrants outside your hospitals for possible roundhouse. Will you warn them? And how will you handle the situation? You have a minute.
You know, it's work that I'm already doing as Speaker of the City Council, so I've already stepped up in leadership to do this. I've had a target on me because I refuse to erode our sanctuary city laws, and I refuse to do this. My mission is, and will be when I am mayor, is to protect the immigrants of the city of New York. New York is a city made up of immigrants.
Base.
So it is our responsibility to make sure that all New Yorkers, our old New Yorkers and our newer New Yorkers, feel safe in this city. As mayor, I will not kowtow to Donald Trump.
But will you warn them that they're...
I will absolutely use my bully pulpit as the mayor to warn, as I'm doing as City Council Speaker pretty much on a daily basis. The work that I am currently doing as Speaker, I will expand. As the mayor of the city of New York, Donald Trump will know that New York will remain a sanctuary city regardless of his threats and his just chaos. We will stand because we are a city and a nation, and we will be that model once again for other cities in this country to take a look at and to work towards becoming like New York.
Thank you, Mr. Lander.
Thank you, Rosario. I mean, as you well know, 40% of the 8 million New Yorkers are foreign-born, 50% live in mixed-status households, including 1 million children. This is the future of New York City that we're talking about, which is why I was proud to be a co-sponsor of those sanctuary city laws. 3 specific things I would do here. 1, it's not just the mayor. Every New York City employee needs to understand the sanctuary city laws. So I've got a detailed plan to make sure our school social workers and receptionists, our shelter security guards know the sanctuary city laws. So we'll have a network to get this information.
Yeah, because if you know your fucking rights, at the very least, right? Like, it's gonna be a lot harder for like authorities to go after you. Generally speaking, if you know your rights, know your rights. Very, very important. Shit like that, you know, gonna be harder for people to go after you, and you could sue with like the help of like say the ACLU or like different organizations like that, civil liberties organizations.
Out and absolutely warn people before they walk into ICE. I propose creating an independent health authority to segment off city money from Medicaid money, and I want to expand NYC care, so it's not just in health and hospitals, but in our federally qualified health centers as well. That'll make sure.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ramos.
Rosalina, Trump mintió. Trump anda detrás de todos los inmigrantes. Pensamos que solamente iban a ser los supuestos criminales y hemos visto que eso no es verdad. We have to keep ICE out of our hospitals, out of our schools, out of our houses of worship, out of any public institution, and really limit cooperation of ICE with the NYPD only when it comes to the 90-plus charges under the current sanctuary city law. Those are very serious.
We love the fact that Eric Adams decided to cooperate with ICE and the Trump administration to get a fucking goddamn what is it? A pardon for all his crimes. Of course, from as expected from Turkey's strongest soldier.
Charges. I want to make sure that in a town with so many lawyers, our immigrants have lawyers, and our immigrants do what they came here to do: work. It is our it'll be my responsibility as mayor of the city of New York to create entry points into the economy so that they can stay busy, provide for themselves and for their families, and honor the fabric of the city and of this country, which cannot function, whose future won't be brighter without our immigrants.
And that sounds like a great plan. But will you be using taxpayers' money for that?
Yes, this is actually making sure we are expanding Action NYC and our cooperation with our community-based organizations and clinics with our 7 law schools to make sure that we are on the ground protecting and teaching people their rights.
Mr. Murray.
This isn't just a hypothetical for me. I grew up with pretty severe asthma, and both of my parents would take me to a city hospital, Kings County Hospital, when I had an asthma attack. They weren't documented then, but they knew that the city had their back. So not only would I be warning, I would be assuring them that we had their back right now. Sanctuary city laws used to not be political. Well-known progressive Rudy Giuliani stood up for our sanctuary city laws because he understood what this community meant to our city. I plan on doing the same. This isn't a time for us to give half measures to say, well, maybe under this circumstance and maybe under that circumstance.
It's a funny
we
bit.
have to stand up. They're snatching people out of our schools. They're snatching people out of our courthouses. We cannot stand for that in this moment. I have a frontline agenda. I want to hire 50 more lawyers to the law department. I want to go on the offensive. I want to utilize the 10th Amendment to ensure that we are not carrying out the federal government's immigration policies. We have to stand up in this moment. That's what I'll be as an
Epic.
Mr. Murray. Sally.
Thank you. Let's move on to another very important topic, public schools. The city spends more of its tax dollars on public schools than anything else. But after shelling out some $40,000 a year per student, only about half of New York City kids can read or do math at grade level. Only half.
I do like the Governor DeSantis. Being like anti-immigrant as the mayor of New York City is a non-starter. How the fuck do you win an election being anti-immigrant in a city like that? Do you hear those stats on how many people are foreign-born?
Bottom line here, what do you see as the top reason for that dismal return on this $41 billion a year investment, and how would
George Bush. No child left behind. Standardized base testing. Let's go. The death of education in America. Thank you, Reagan and Bush.
you turn it around as mayor? You'll all have 30 seconds to answer. Mr. Blake, we'll begin with you.
We have to address literacy and have a better pedagogy on the front end so that our teachers and our educators and families are able to make sure that we address this critical issue. It's the reason why I led the My Brother's Keeper program. But it also means that we have to be clear, to be against any anti-blackness that is happening in our schools. And something that many people may not realize. In 2008, Andrew Cuomo said that no candidate should shuck or jive in an election. Clearly, Barack Obama was there. So when we talk about education, it's not just about making sure
that is fucking funny.
And we're at time, Mr. Blake, and before we move to Mr. Mamdani, Mr. Cuomo, would you like to respond to that?
It's ridiculous.
The hating is really good.
Is it inaccurate that you said in 2008?
I never insulted President Obama.
Is
Mr. Mamdani said he is a liar,
evil.
I never insulted.
Okay, not
He's not saying he didn't say that.
In 2008,
I never.
In 2008.
We do have to move on.
Man, this is really, really ineffective defense here. He's like, I never said that. Yeah, I totally didn't say that. Listen, we all know about how much of a hater Hillary Clinton was against Barack Obama. Let's be honest here. We know of all, like, the stupid racist shit that she fucking did because she was mad about the fact that she wasn't getting her fucking turn. We all know the meme of, like, how Hillary Clinton voters voted less for Obama in comparison to, say, Bernie voters voting for fucking Hillary Clinton during 2016. We all know, dude. We all know. Like, and this fucking dumbass, yeah, he worked under the fucking Clinton administration as HUD secretary. So, again, like, come on, Andrew. We know you're fucking full of it.
Many people do want to hear about public education, so we're going to move on to Mr. Mamdani to discuss. Okay, you can have 45 seconds to answer to respond to him, and please address the question about public schools.
Yes, absolutely. I'll do so shortly after. We have Mr. Cuomo, who said these words of shuck and jive when Barack Obama was running to be the president of our country. I was proud in 2008 that the first doors I ever knocked on was for Barack Obama. While we had a candidate here.
Why are you calling him evil?
While we had a candidate here, who is so allergic to any accountability or acknowledgement of a mistake that he can't even admit that he said these kinds of words. Now,
True.
All of the challenges that we are facing in our city when it comes to our schools, they are also downstream from the fact that 500,000 of our children are going to sleep hungry every single night. 100,000 of them for the 9th consecutive year are now homeless. We need to ensure we have a city where our children can not only have food to eat, a place to call their own, and we also have time,
Mr.
full implementation of class size reduction.
Mr. Tilson, we're going to move to you, and I just want to remind you, we do want to know a
In
solution.
the 2023 to 2024 school year, about 150,000 students in New York City's public schools experience homelessness. About 1 in every 8 students. About 1 in every 8 students.
1 in every 8 students experience fucking homelessness. Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's gonna be really conducive to good educational outcomes. Is Cuomo gonna fucking do anything about that? Nah, probably not.
Public schools in 2023 to 2024 at some point during that year experience homelessness. That's where we're at.
Who should have the
Epic.
problem in the public school system? That is the heart of this question.
Sure. The failure of our public schools is exhibit A of how city government spends way too much and delivers far too little. Our kids are reading below Mississippi's, despite spending $40,000 a kid. They're the poorest state in the nation, spending 12. It's really, if you're a business person, I know, and I am for 40 years.
Abundance.
Rewards for success and few, if any, consequences for failure. I served on the board of charter schools for more than 20 years, and 15% of our public schools, the charter schools, are held accountable. Not surprisingly, they are the best charter schools, public schools overall in the city, delivering for kids.
More private schooling, charter schools. Let's go. Abundance.
Obama was evil and a liar.
I believe neither of you denied the course of the race. Neither of you denied the course of the race. But we are here to talk at this moment about public schools. No, we denied any course of the race.
Like, here's the thing. Like, Andrew Cuomo is like complaining about like the stupidest shit on the fucking planet. Who the fuck cares if you're calling Barack Obama evil and a liar? Guess what? Yeah, it's fucking true, and that's gonna resonate with fucking voters. Because guess what? What did Barack Obama promise? Hope and fucking change, you dumbass. Guess what he didn't do? Hope or bring any change. We all know what he did during the 2008 financial crisis. Who did he bail out? The corporations, not the fucking homeowners. Yeah, dude. But now you want to fucking complain about, like, Zohran Mamdani accurately calling out Obama for what he fucking is. A piece of shit fucking typical politician, the main reason as to why fucking Donald Trump gained prominence and popularity to begin with. But, does this fucking dumbass Cuomo, is he gonna fucking do anything about that? No. The only reason why he evokes Obama fucking positively in any sense is because it's politically efficacious for him to do that.
Initiative to New York City. Okay, we're gonna move on. Mr. Myrie, do you have...
No, let's give Mr. I'm proud that I raised education to the highest level of any state in the United States. I understand the point about we need to reform the education system. I would start with the DOE. They spend hundreds of $1 millions on consultants. We don't know what we get. I want a real analysis of the curriculum. New York City solves and New York City reads. We need more paraprofessionals in those schools. 1 out of 8 children are homeless. It's too much for a teacher to do.
Understood.
Pay the paraprofessionals.
Thank you, Mr. Myrie.
I wouldn't be standing on this stage if not for our city's public schools. I went to PS 161, the Crown School, and made my way to Cornell Law School, with Brooklyn Tech and Fordham in between, only because there were teachers that got up every single day and put their best foot forward so that I could be on a path to success. But we also have to think about what is happening after school. We had learning loss over COVID-19, and I want to provide universal after school to help make up for that learning loss. I wouldn't be here today if I didn't have an after school program that taught me karate even though I was terrible, and I was the only one that had the moves to prove it. I want to give that to every single kid.
We're at time now. We're going to move to Ms. Ramos.
Well, now I have to shout out PS70, IS10, and the Academy of American Studies in Astoria. I wouldn't be here without them, and my children wouldn't be where they are in middle school.
We love after school programs.
Look, it's true that our children suffered some lapses in developmental and social skills throughout the pandemic. I've seen it. So I want to make sure that we are delivering on teacher centers so that our teachers have more supports, giving NYC more time to really seek in, and really providing our District 75 schools with all of the funding they deserve.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ramos. Mr. Lander, again, we are looking for solution-oriented answers here.
Both our kids also pre-K to 12 in New York City public school. Shout out.
Huge thing you could do in New York City that you couldn't do in a lot of places. In New York City specifically, you need to expand the school bus routes. One of the reasons for like truancy and delinquency and stuff is that like a lot of parents are working jobs that are so demanding with time that they can't really like drive their kids to school. So they
That's true.
Schools or have their own like convoluted whatever the fuck. New York City is so dense, you could actually like really build out the school bus network, make it much better.
It also fucking really helps. That congestion pricing also fucking helps with that. Less cars on the fucking road, for example, definitely have the ability to expand school bus routes as a fucking example for the, to add on to what Vosh is saying there.
107. 30 seconds to start. I've got a detailed plan. I'm the only candidate in the race with a detailed plan on my website for education. How I'll measure what matters, what metrics I'm looking at, how I'll recruit, retain, and support teachers, including a teacher center in every school, and how I'll deal with the growth we've seen in mental health crises, in homelessness, and in chronic absenteeism by making every school a community school so it can support all our students.
Thank you. Ms. Adams.
Prior to becoming an elected official, I was the education chair for my local community board. Education has always been a priority for me. It always will be. We raised 4 children in the public school system. So again, I am that everyday New Yorker that knows what this feels like. So we know that the DOE has the highest budget of all city agencies. What I would do would be to redeploy resources. I have seen as council speaker how difficult it is to maneuver through the DOE agency and the barriers of bureaucracy. But as mayor, I will have full view in order to help all of our children get through the bureaucracy and get our children
Thank you, Ms. Adams.
the right way.
Mr. Stringer.
My sons Max and Miles are going through public middle school as we speak. And the challenge for them is COVID kids is very real. And there's a lot of kids out there that need help, and they need it now. They need mental health services. They need extra tutoring. And we're not providing that with this $40 billion budget. I know that because I audited the Department of Education more than any controller in history, found missing computers, missing iPads at the height of COVID. But here's what we have to do. Childcare, baseline pre-K, free-K. We need an after-school program that focuses on tutoring and giving kids that don't have parental resources financially the help they need. It doesn't matter how you start the race. It matters how you finish.
Thank you, Mr. Stringer. We're at time, David.
Okay, thank you, Sally. We call this next section of the debate, What's in a Name? We have 3 quick questions looking for fast answers. We don't have any answers.
Fast answers in this crowd?
Go down the line, starting with Mr. Stringer. Right now, who's the most effective Democrat in the country?
Very quick, very good.
It's not Eric Adams.
Very good, very good.
I would say the most effective Democrat right now is Hakeem Jeffries.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I would say myself because I actually defeated.
Fucking Hakeem Jeffries. The deer in the headlights fucking moron. Yeah, totally. Most effective fucking Democrat. Hilarious. Mr. Blake saying himself. Based.
Donald Trump when I was vice chair to DNC.
Mr. Mamdani.
Mayor Wu of Boston.
Mr. Tilson.
My old friend Cory Booker, after his 25-hour Herculean.
Thank you, Mr. Tilson. Mr. Cuomo.
That accomplished nothing.
Hakeem Jeffries.
Mr. Myrie.
Majority Leader Andrew Cuomo.
Ms. Ramos.
Maryland Governor Moore.
Mr. Lander.
Boston Mayor Michelle Wu.
Miss Adams.
I would have to say the next speaker would be Hakeem Jeffries.
In the primary vote.
Why is fucking Hakeem Jeffries, who basically has capitulated to everything that Donald Trump and Republicans are saying, and is one of the main proponents of the strategy of like, guys, if we do nothing, we'll just win, guys. God, it's so stupid, bro.
Voters will be ranking you 1 through 5, number 1 being their top choice for mayor. So we break up the order and start with Mr. Cuomo. Assuming you rank yourself number 1, who on this stage would you rank number 2?
I leave it to the voters.
So you would not put a name in, or you're not sure?
No, I'd leave it to the voters.
Okay.
Mr. Tilson.
I haven't decided on my number 2, but I'm an ABZ. No disrespect, Zohran, but I think his policies are dangerous.
Okay, Mr. Mamdani.
I'm more of an ABC guy, anybody but Cuomo.
Yeah, of course. Whoa, the fucking dumbass loser, a bunda guy is just like, I think Mamdani is really dangerous. Yeah, okay, abundance liberal.
I'll be telling my voters, however, who to rank number 2 before election.
Okay, no names yet. Mr. Blake.
I'm going to take the Andrew Cuomo approach and not answer your question.
Mr. Stringer.
Like, this fucking guy, dude. Jesus Christ. I'm dead.
I love the Blake dude here. He's such a hater. I love this stuff, just the sheer hatred. It's so good. This is okay. I've been saying this. This is the kind of you want Democrats. You want to be fucking effective. Hate, vitriol. You should hate your fucking opponents. But you know they'll never fucking do that. Thank you, Michelle Obama, for doing the stupid fucking nonsense of like you need to you need to fucking take the high road every single time. Meh.
I'm undoing the endorsement, okay? Vote for this guy, okay? I don't know, he's funny.
Supposed to make news at these debates, right? No, just my second choice really will be based on who I think would be the second best mayor on the state.
Ms. Adams.
I also would rank myself number 1, of course, but we will not be breaking news as far as who my number 2 will be tonight.
All right, Mr. Lander.
Andrew Cuomo has shown you many times tonight why you should not be anywhere on your ballot.
Ms. Ramos.
I think
Based. Just the hate. I love the hate, dude.
this debate is really good food for thought and will give us all a better idea. I'm hoping to have a better idea by the end of the night.
Mr. Miley.
Literally, like, the question is, who on stage do you like? And everyone's answer is, well, I fucking hate Cuomo, but apart from that, no comment.
Stay tuned. All right. The last one will start with Mr. Stringer.
I hate Cuomo,
So,
but
Mr.
stay
Cuomo, race for
tuned.
mayor. Who did you rank first on your ballot for the Democratic primary?
That was tough. I conferred with my wife, and we said Stringer number 1.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Blake.
Maya Wiley, I co-chair a campaign, and our city would be much better right now if Maya Wiley was mayor.
Mr. Mamdani.
Maya Wiley.
Mr. Tilson.
Catherine Garcia.
Mr. Cuomo.
I would have done Eric Adams.
Did he live in New York City?
No, you said he would have. You said
I think it was about 30 years since he lived here, right?
Mr. Meyer.
I ranked Maya first.
Ms. Ramos.
I voted.
Wait, did Cuomo say he voted for fucking Eric Adams? Who everyone fucking... Oh, God, this just shouldn't be wrong at all.
Mr. Mamdani.
Maya Wiley.
Mr. Tilson.
Catherine Garcia.
Mr. Cuomo.
I would have done Eric Adams.
Did he live in New York City?
No, you said he would have. You said
I think it was about 30 years since he lived here, right?
Mr. Meyer.
I ranked Maya.
The hate, I love it. Whoa, who would have thought that Andrew Cuomo is voting, would have voted for Turkey's strongest soldier? Very cool.
Ms. Ramos.
I voted for Maya Wiley.
Mr. Lander.
Maya Wiley 1, Catherine Garcia 2.
Ms. Adams.
My biggest regret was voting for Eric Adams number 1 with my very close second, Kathy Garcia.
All right, thank
Well,
you.
I'm not ranking any of you.
All right, thank you. Stallion.
Okay, we're going to move on to housing. You've all made housing a top priority in your campaigns, and as you all know, the city is in a
Very
housing crisis
funny.
with a vacancy rate of just 1.4%. We'd like you to explain your proposed solutions to this housing crisis and how you would pay for it. You'll have 1 minute to answer this question. Mr. Tilson will begin with you.
Abundance.
Discussed about an hour ago. The key, I think, is to unleash the private sector to build a lot more supply, which would just stabilize rents.
Let's go! More fucking speculative real estate assets. Let's go! Let's unleash the developers who are just gonna build like a bunch of empty lots for foreign capital to buy. Let's go! Because that's totally gonna fix the affordability crisis of housing. Yeah, man, totally. Abundance! Abunda!
We have the highest rents in the country. We need to bring them down. I think they can come down by 20%. Austin just demonstrated how to do this in only 3 years. How do we do that? We need to ease zoning restrictions, fight NIMBYism, properly staff the city departments to streamline that process.
Abundance, brain rot aside, this is objectively correct. There are a lot of insane regulations and
Abundance.
new stuff in New York City. There are a lot of like very famous historical buildings in New York City that you literally couldn't build today just because of stupid zoning laws. Like that is all true. That is completely correct. Yeah, for sure.
And overall, just speed up the process. It's taking
Abundance brain rot. Let's go!
4 years to build, start to finish, and it should take only 2. I will say what I will. My plan is basically the opposite of Zohran's. He wants the city to build all new affordable housing, which I think the city has we've seen the city is no good at building and operating housing. He would also saddle us. He proposes $70 billion of debt. This would end up looking like California's high-speed rail project. Nothing at all.
We're at time. Thank you, Mr. Tilson. Mr.
Yo, dude, God, who would have thought that this abundance troglodyte, this complete moron, this simpering loser is just like, dude, if we just have the private sector build more fucking speculative real estate assets, that's totally going to help and handle the problem. We just need to make sure that the profit motive in housing is maintained constantly. Oh, totally. Like, again, like, just like even Vosh said, like, with the abundance stuff, yeah, sure, there's a lot of, like, dumbass fucking regulations and red tape that get in the way, sure, but that's not the main fucking problem. The main fucking problem is all these fucking real estate developers who have their, their fucking grubby little hands in the sort of, like, pot of the fucking housing market, okay? Let's be fucking honest here. They're the main fucking problem. You want to talk about, like, why housing is fucking expensive? All these, like, sniveling, greedy fucking losers who want to make money from, like, foreign capital. That's what it is.
Cuomo, how would you try to resolve the housing crisis, and how would you pay for it?
Yeah, it's a desperate problem. I built housing for the homeless in my 20s. Excuse me. I served as HUD secretary and built housing literally all across the nation, hundreds of thousands of units. We need to blow up HPD. It's an obstacle. The city council is a bottleneck. We have to use faith-based institutions. We need to use vacant city land. I've shown that I know how to build. Look at LaGuardia Airport. Look at the Casco Bridge. Look at the Second Avenue subway. I know how to get.
This is more. It's more fucking. This is abundance fucking bullshit. 100%. All fucking abundance liberalism bullshit.
Things done, and that's what this election is all about. Not plans. Who can get something done?
Ms. Adams, yes, if you'd like to
Abundance bullshit yet again.
And the former governor's response.
The problem with just leaving it to the private sector and not having government housing, though, is that we see what happens when the private sector is allowed to build more housing in cities. They build giant high-rise luxury condos, and then they hope and wait for like a billionaire to move in. And the problem is, in New York City, there's always a billionaire waiting to move in. That's the problem.
Hey, that's what I said. What the?
Financially, it makes the most sense to build the most luxury apartments or houses possible because there's infinite demand for living in New York City. You'll never run out. The demand is uncapped. So if you want to maintain like a reasonable class composition of the city and not turn it into a shit pit play box for billionaires like Dubai, you need to build housing that is kept affordable for regular people. Otherwise, you have a core city. You have Manhattan that is unaffordable unless you make 7 figures a year, and all the jobs in Manhattan are filled by people who travel in from New Jersey or from Queens to the Bronx.
How disconnected he is to the work of the city. Unlike myself, who is currently still in city governance, the only person on this stage actually that has experience of city governance and doing the work. The city council, under my leadership right now, has already walked 120,000 units of housing for the people of the city of New York. So the city council is not bottlenecking anything. Maybe perhaps 10, 20 years ago, when you were a governor, that was happening. But under my leadership, we have a brand new culture in the city council where we are actually working for the people to make sure that housing is built now.
Welcome back, guys.
Very briefly.
Yeah, the mayor has an interesting proposal that I think we're going to see in the Charter Commission that talks about the role of the city council and expediting the approval mechanism.
Okay, Mr. Myrie, your top solution to the housing crisis. You have 1 minute to discuss it.
I grew up in a rent-stabilized apartment. It is a place that my mom, my parents were able to find, the only affordable place they were able to find to raise me to be on this stage right now. But that opportunity has slipped away for too many New Yorkers. My wife and I, we want to put down roots in the same neighborhood that we grew up in. When you walk down Bedford Avenue, everything costs $1 million. Who has $1 million? Maybe some of the people on this stage do, but I don't have it, and I know you watching at home don't have it either. So I've been clear about what my plan is to drive down the cost of housing. 1 million homes over the next 10 years. We can actually do this with some leadership. The leaders of the past, like Cuomo, who had the opportunity to do this, only gave us a city that is more expensive than it was 10 years ago. I want to also extend pre-K and 3K from 2:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. so that we can draw families here and keep them here. And I want universal free after school for every kid in this city because it has to be a city where you can raise a family and where we can move everyone to a path to success.
And very, very briefly, what is your price tag on those 1 million homes?
My plan does not require us to raise taxes and reduce the private market in order to build housing.
All right, thank you. Ms. Ramos.
Property tax reform is
Oh boy, more abundance bullshit. It's always abundance shit.
We are helping homeowners and landlords bring down their costs. Water rates. The cost of water has skyrocketed in the past 3 years under the current administration. And then I want to freeze the rent. As a rent-stabilized tenant, I know how tough it is to be able to keep up with rent. The rent is too damn high.
Rent freeze.
So I want
Let's
to make sure
go.
that unwarehousing the 5,000 apartments that NYCHA is hanging on to. I want to make sure they're repaired so that we can chip into that 200,000 New Yorker waiting list. I also want to bring back the co-op city model so that we can attract the city services that are needed. We need more nurses, we need more teachers, we need more doctors, we need more police officers and firefighters. So I want to build more low-income rentals and modest equity homeownership opportunities so that every New Yorker can own a piece.
Thank you, Ms. Ramos. Mr. Lander.
Everyone on stage talks about affordable housing. I spent 3 decades delivering it. Spent 15 years before I ever got into elected office with my sleeves rolled up, renovating abandoned buildings and vacant lots into affordable homes. In the city council, I was the champion for the Gowanus redevelopment, 8,000 new units, 3,000 genuinely affordable. Saved the 35,000 units of Signature Bank rent stabilized housing when they were put at risk by Signature's failure. So I know how to do this. That's a leadership I bring to City Hall for a housing emergency on day 1. Put out a detailed plan for how we can build 500,000 homes over the next 10 years, and I've laid out where, including 50,000 units in great new neighborhoods on 4 of the city's 12 city-owned golf courses. Might be losing the golf vote tonight, but we need the pathway to homeownership and genuine rental housing.
All right, that's okay. Not the golf vote. No.
Management experience, I can deliver those homes.
Thank you. For viewers at home, that's the Housing Department and the New York City Housing Authority. Ms. Adams, given that you spoke about this before, we're going to give you 30 seconds to continue your answer.
Yes, already doing the work. Don't need a manual or a transcript in order to do it. I'm already doing it currently as we speak. So I've already delivered thousands of affordable units to people of the city of New York. We can take a look at Innovation Queens, the largest privately developed structure that is coming up right now, unheard of. We can look at Bronx Metro North rezoning. We can also look at what we just passed 2 weeks ago, the Atlantic Avenue rezoning. And yes, we can take a look at the City for All, which will create over 80,000 brand new affordable units.
We have to move on to Mr. Stringer.
Doing the work.
Thank you, Mr. Stringer. Can you please talk about your housing plan and how you would pay for it?
It's such a spread out debate stage. Is there going to be another debate, or is it the only one?
Confronted housing issues in the past. Mayor stepped up and didn't do the minimum, they did the maximum. LaGuardia built 2,200
gotcha.
public
Yeah, that was complaining, but he didn't get into the second debate,
greatest integrated housing program in a generation was also built. Right now, all we do is have luxury developers propose.
So there's gonna be another debate after this, okay.
My plan: take 1,000 vacant lots, build the affordable housing that we need. You give the land to not-for-profits, to community-based organizations. We're in the game. This is not pie in the sky. I can't say to you tonight, given my 30 years of experience, that anyone has a plan to build 1 million homes or 500,000 homes in 10 years. Don't believe it. Believe what we can do in the next 2 years. That's the first step. Lastly, we also have to recognize who can best do this work. As controller, I financed affordable housing all over the city. As borough president, I didn't do 1 or 2 rezoning. That was my life's work for 8 years. And
we're at time, Mr. Stringer. Mr. Blake, we have to move on. Mr. Blake.
It is a lot of
housing crisis. You have to actually go through the journey. My mom overcame homelessness. We sold dinners to pay rent in South Bronx. And so this is not about a report for me. This is about reality. So how do we fix the crisis? We need local median income because area median income is not working. We need to end credit scores being utilized for housing applications, and we need to increase the income limits on housing applications, especially to protect all of our New Yorkers. When you think about what's happening in Rochdale Village right now, with an unfair tax increase, the protections that happen in Co-op City or Concourse Village, Tracy's House, just name a few. But then we got to go a step further. For public housing and those that are living in NYCHA, for those who have not helped you with heat and hot water, they need to go to jail because they're not being held accountable to actually fight for you. And so when we talk about the actual vision of a housing plan, if you go to BlakeForNYC.com, you'll see the welcome home vision because we want to make sure you can afford the home you deserve.
Mr. Blake, we're at time. Just a very quick follow-up. Who are you implying should be going to jail?
The individuals that are working at NYCHA that were a part of a bribery scheme that has been unveiled and uncovered, but it's been very clear that they were taking in bribes and not actually fix what's happening in the residence.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mamdani, we'll go to you.
If you are one of the close to 2.5 million New Yorkers who live in rent-stabilized housing, I will freeze your rent. And I will do that because you have a median household income of $60,000 while your landlord profits have increased by 12%. This is an act that will bring nearly $7 billion back into your pocket.
Go after the landlords. Let's go.
And we'll do so because the mayor has the power to.
Sure, we're doing Maoism. It's Maoism time.
The mayor actually did this 3 times. And on top of this, we're going to build 200,000 truly affordable homes. Homes that are for the New Yorker who has a median household income of $70,000 for a family of 4. We'll do this while taking on the very bad landlords and the real estate developers who are funding Andrew Cuomo's campaign. $2.5 million last time I checked. And we're going to do that.
Base, go after the real estate developers. Fuck these stupid abundance liberal dumb fuck. Hey, I wonder why that one fucking abundance liberal stupid dumb fuck. I don't remember his name. Tilson or whatever the fuck. Dude with the fucking girl's name, okay? Whitney? I thought that was a girl's name. What's going on here? Nah, you know. Stupid meme aside. Yeah, again, with all these like stupid dumb fuck liberals, they're just like they never want to fucking address like the main fucking problem. Because I've talked about this constantly. The main fucking problem in cities, sure, there can be really annoying regulations that get in the way in terms of like building affordable units. I'm not going to deny that. The main problem is guess who, generally speaking, are the ones who fund a lot of the campaigns in a lot of municipal fucking sort of districts in cities within America, even in Canada. It's real estate developers who only want to build a bunch of fucking luxury condos and stuff like that so they could be speculative real estate assets. This happens all the fucking time. Which is why I also thought the idea behind, I think, the Blake guy, I also thought was like a vacancy tax. I was just like, ooh, that's a pretty interesting way to also like try to tackle the issue. I'm not sure if it's 100% like going to be the best way to do it, right? You know, it's supposed to be like a sort of like incentive structure in order to make developers work on more affordable housing in comparison to, say, like a lot of the more expensive luxury condos that, you know, a billionaire fucking buys up a bunch of them and then uses them as, you know, real estate assets to speculate with on the market, right? You know, one of the biggest problems with general sort of affordability in terms of the housing market is that exactly. So, generally speaking, that's like, I think, an interesting, like, sort of more, like, lateral way to sort of, like, tackle the problem. Just be like, oh, well, I mean, if those units are empty, they're not occupied, tax the fuck out of them even more. It's like, ooh, that's like, yeah, I think that's, like, a pretty good way to sort of, like, tackle the fucking issue. I'm not sure if it's 100% going to be the, like, perfect fix. The bigger problem is obviously a lot of, like, the money that goes into politics, especially in, like, municipal areas, by real estate developers to buy mayoralships and whatnot in order to get like sort of preferential treatment when building those like luxury sort of condos and whatnot. Because that's the biggest problem, right? It's not a housing first policy. It's meant to just make money for like real estate developers and the rich.
Because ultimately, every single person needs to follow the law, and that includes the landlords who are violating our housing code and have $800 million in fines that the city have yet to actually collect on.
Brief response. Brief response, Mr.
That's true.
Mr. Mamdani is very good at videos, but not reality. The Daily News said that his plan to finance his proposals, it violates the constitutional debt cap of the city of New York. It would double the state taxes, and there's no way the state is going to pass a tax statewide.
No, he's invoking. I should be able to respond.
Brief response.
What the governor is speaking about is when we want to fight for working class people, it's considered unrealistic, but when he wants to give Elon Musk a $1 billion tax break, it's totally feasible. What the Daily News found is that this would mean taking a $30 billion budget, increasing it such that we can actually create truly affordable housing.
All right. We have to
Yeah, get on, dumbass. Whoa, who would have thought? Like, whoa. Andrew Cuomo just wants to give tax cuts to the rich because that's all he fucking cares about. And also, you know, funding the police way more. So when he does his like little fucking tax cuts for the rich, they can just beat the shit out of people who object to, you know, him giving more and more tax breaks to the fucking rich in New York. Yeah, well, you know, typical Andrew Cuomo bullshit.
We have some breaking news we want to ask you about. The Trump administration is threatening the accreditation of Columbia University. In a statement, Secretary of Education Linda McMahon said after Hamas's October 7, 2023 terror attack on Israel,
here we go.
Columbia University's leadership acted with deliberate
This is going to be this will be interesting.
This is not only immoral, but also unlawful.
We had a good run, guys. It was a good debate.
30 seconds.
October 7th, let's go.
Mr. Cuomo will begin with you.
I think you have two separate issues. Number one, I do believe there's been anti-Semitism in the city. I believe it's a growing problem, and I believe the rhetoric about Israel has actually inflamed the anti-Semitism. Put that aside.
I got something for you, Cuomo. New York polling on sending aid to Israel. Here's a real good one for you, Cuomo. Huh. This is on January 23rd. Not that long after. As tensions rise, more New Yorkers oppose aid to Israel. I don't know what's going. That's a little weird, Andrew Cuomo. Is this like anti-Semitism or people being more concerned about the genocide that the Israelis are doing? I don't know. Yeah, it's very, very funny. 45% of New York State residents polled opposed sending additional military and economic aid to Israel, while 43% supported of it. Wah, 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 wah. And this is a reversal from late October when it was 57 to 32%. Damn, it's not a majority. It is a fucking plurality though, and it's it's higher than those of who support sending more aid to Israel. Yeah, I don't think that's a winner for you there, Andrew Cuomo. So this was on October 24th, right? Majority of New Yorkers support aid to Israel, right? And then the Siena College survey that we just looked, the 45%. Times of Israel probably complaining about that. So, hey, Cuomo, are you sure that New Yorkers support Israel? It's all because of anti-Semitism and shit like that? Yeah, sure, buddy.
I think this is just another overreach of the Trump administration. Now he's going to take over the academic universities in this country. He is literally attacking the foundation of democracy, and he must be opposed at every turn.
Mr. Tilson, your reaction?
Again, the dipshits who are mostly concerned about what Donald Trump is doing. They don't want to lose their fucking endowments because it's all the people within the administration of the university that are going to capitulate to him. Like, that's the fucking main issue. But, you know, Andrew Cuomo is okay with the administrators over the, whims of the students and the professors. He doesn't give a fuck about those guys. But the administrators? The guys with the money? I think he cares way more about those guys.
Okay. So that was actually a surprisingly not. I was expecting a way more partisan answer out of him.
Columbia University.
Yeah, I'm totally appalled by two things. First, the failure of Columbia and other elite institutions to adequately act quickly after the October 7th attacks on mobs that were creating a very dangerous environment for Jewish students. My daughter is one of them in college right now. My wife and children are Jewish. This is personal.
Yeah, sure, man. Whoa, the dog shit abundance liberal just wants to be collaborationist with the Trump administration. Who would have thought? Crazy.
But I am, and these mobs, let's be clear, were incited by activists like the Democratic Socialists of America, and they're anti-Israel.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah, dude, all the fucking peaceful fucking drum circles of, people saying, Israel is bad, turning Palestinians into mulch is bad. Yeah, dude, incitement of fucking mobs. You want to know who fucking incited mobs? Zionist fucking agitators who constantly went to the fucking police all the time so they could crack in the skulls of fucking students, you fucking ghoul.
I am even more appalled, however, by the Trump administration pretending to care about anti-Semitism and threatening the accreditation of universities.
I think this is yet another example of a gross overreach of the Trump administration, one that they have shown they will continue to pursue with whichever university they decide to target. It's been Columbia, it's been Harvard. We need to have a mayor that will actually stand up to Donald Trump, not one that we have right now that will collaborate with. And that is who I will be, as someone who is, in the words of Shirley Chisholm, unbought and unbossed, because the donors who are putting me in second place in this race are working class New Yorkers across the city.
Mr. Blake, 30 seconds.
As a reverend, let's start from the core that all hostages have to come back home on both sides. Let's also be very clear
on both sides. Okay.
And also
both sides.
2 Israeli hostages held by Hamas for the tens of thousands of Arabs kept without
base.
In Israeli prisons.
Wait, woke both sides of them?
Is this guy pro-Hamas?
The overreach is unacceptable, and what Trump is doing, Linda McMahon is clearly more focused on wrestling rather than the facts. And it's one of the reasons why I'm running in this race. Because of my federal experience and work for real President Barack Obama, and the state house experience and local experience, we have to make sure that we're not allowing DC to have overreach. And when they take these steps, they will withhold sending New York City taxes to DC.
Mr. Stringer, reaction.
There's no question that on so many of these college campuses, the anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish hate is very real. And we have to make sure that we hold universities accountable to make sure...
yeah, totally. The drum circles inciting anti-Jewish hate. And guess what? Who most of the people are there? Oh, a lot of them are fucking Jewish. I guess they all are self-hating Jews or something. Yeah, totally, dude.
Of all different backgrounds are safe. But this Trump move goes against everything that's American. And if he really wants to help Jewish students and all students, because everybody faces discrimination at some point in their lives, then maybe he would fully fund the civil rights divisions. He would not cut programs that could go a long way to fostering the ability for all different people to work together and come together.
Thank you. Ms. Adams, your reaction. The Trump administration says that the university's leadership acted with deliberate indifference towards the harassment of Jewish students. Is now targeting or perhaps threatening their accreditation. Your reaction.
You know, all New Yorkers deserve to feel safe no matter who they are. As Speaker, I've allocated over $18 million to combat anti-Semitism in New York City. As Mayor, I will...
That makes me wonder, is the Trump administration even able to target the accreditation that fucking universities can even give out? Is that even, like, allowed? Can he do that? I guess it doesn't really matter all that much because, you know, fucking the Trump administration feels like they can just do whatever the fuck they want. They don't give a fuck about the rule of law. We all know this. Party of law and order, by the way. They pretend to really care about the law. Yeah, totally.
Continue to combat anti-Semitism within the city of New York. We have got to come against this Trump administration who is now terrorizing our college students, our students across the country. We have to have a mayor who will stand up. I've been that speaker that will stand up. As mayor, I will continue to stand up against Donald Trump. Our students deserve to be in safe spaces on all of our college campuses.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Adams.
Sure.
This is a frightening time for Jews, and I feel it really personally after the flame throwing in Boulder, Colorado, and the 2 murders in Washington, D.C. I go to a lot of Jewish communal events, and you can't just be looking over your shoulder. So I've got a really detailed plan for how we're going to deal with hate crimes and anti-Semitism in New York City. But let's be clear, Donald Trump, he platforms white nationalists and anti-Semites all the time. This has nothing to do with keeping anyone safe and trying to discredit Harvard or Columbia is about destroying higher education and democracy. It won't keep Jews safe.
Ms. Ramos.
But the man is an educator, and Trump has no interest in funding our education. He is trying to make our education less accessible to students. I do wish Columbia University fought the way Harvard has. We have to stand up to Trump. We have to be willing to sue, and that is exactly what I will do as your mayor to make sure that we are...
Good point here, actually, by Ramos.
And I'm here fighting bigotry at every turn. There is no room for the skyrocketing...
I will say, I'm actually surprised and a little impressed with where the Overton window is in this conversation. Obviously, there has been a lot of, like, pro-Israel capitulation, but not as much as I expected. I'm gonna be honest, I really thought everyone would turn on Mamdani with that one. You know, like accusing him of like, not condemning the Holocaust, where the fuck Politico ran with beforehand.
Anti-Semitism that we are seeing in our...
That is also true. That's a good point there by Vosh. I'll be honest. Like, the stupid, like, Politico smears against Zohran Mamdani saying, like, well, you didn't vote to affirm this, like, totally, like, ceremonial bill, so therefore you're a virulent anti-Semite, Zohran Mamdani, and it's just like, sure, man, if we want to go, like, that schizophrenic with it, totally, bro, yeah, confirmed anti-Semite, Zohran Mamdani. Great work, Politico, as always.
And the xenophobia must end.
Mr. Byron, there has been a clear and unequivocal rise in anti-Semitism in the city and across this country. And we have to be just as clear and unequivocal in calling it out and rooting it out wherever it rears its ugly head. That is what I'm going to do as mayor. But come on, this is New York City. Our Jewish friends and our neighbors, they make our city what it is. Kindergarten through 8th grade, I went to school next to Beit Rivka. That is part of what makes our city great. This is a shameful, unconstitutional overreach by this.
Did you expect this amount of Cuomo hate also? Honestly, what this is reminding me of is how bad the National Democrats are. Like, the fact that when you get at this granular city level, even the people who I would consider on the right of the discourse are still way more moderate in their language than the leadership of the Democratic Party. And again, it's New York City. This is NYC. This is like the capital of the bad National Democrats too. It's just a reminder of how fucking bad they are, you know?
True.
All across our city and country.
Thank you. We're going to stay in the area of Columbia University with our next question. Sally Goldenberg.
Thank you, David. The case of Mahmoud Khalil, a permanent U.S. resident who helped lead pro-Palestinian protests, drags
Mahmoud Khalil.
wants to deport Khalil.
Mahmoud Khalil.
A terrorist group.
Let's go.
Jewish students feel less safe on campus. They say he's a threat to foreign policy. He was arrested and detained, but has not been formally charged with a crime. And he says he's done nothing wrong. We're looking for a very short answer here, and we'll begin with you, Mr. Mamdani. Do you believe that Mr. Khalil should be set free or deported?
He should be set free. He should be at home with his wife Noor and their young child. And the fact that he is still
Based.
is an abomination. It's an attack on our First Amendment. And it is clear, another example of Donald Trump weaponizing the very real issue of anti-Semitism to then throw Palestinian New Yorkers into detention facilities and not even tell us what the crime is they're charged with.
Thank you, Mr. Shelton.
Based.
I can't answer the question without knowing all the facts right now. It certainly looks like another case. Stop, let me finish. It looks like another case of Trump administration overreach.
We kind of do know all the case and all the facts about this. But whoa, who would have thought? This fucking stupid Fallout-looking ghoul motherfucker over here, the abundance fucking liberal, whoa, has the dog shit answer of like, yeah, we don't know all the facts here. Nah, it's pretty fucking clear. He's a permanent resident, and he was one of the main protest organizers within Columbia University, who the Trump administration went after because Marco Rubio decided, like, yeah, I think this guy's totally a threat to U.S. foreign policy by organizing some fucking goddamn drum circles. Sure, dude.
They need to prove their case and show that he has ties to...
Hold on, my handlers haven't told me whether or not I'm allowed to defend Mahmoud Khalil.
That would justify via due process revoking his green card and deporting him. I don't think the Trump administration will be able to do that, and therefore he should be set free. But they need to make their case.
Thank you, Mr.
This is a continuation of Trump eroding democracy, chipping away at due process. He should be released. He should be released immediately. He shouldn't have been detained in the first place.
Mr. Myrick.
He should be immediately set free.
It's actually no. I'll okay. You know what, Andrew Cuomo? I'll let you take that one. I'll let you have that one. Okay? You're a piece of shit still. You fucking suck. He's right on that one. Good job, Cuomo. The bare minimum. You did it.
Ms. Ramos. We have due process in our Constitution for every person. Mahmoud Khalil is no exception. He belongs home with his family, just like Andrea Hernandez and so many others who have been unlawfully abducted by ICE.
Mr. Lander.
True.
Mahmoud Khalil should be at home with his family, and so should Dylan Contreras, a New York City public high school student that ICE tricked and then arrested and is trying.
Yeah, that's also a big story. That's a great point here by Brad Lander. Like, literally some, I think he's, So a Hispanic immigrant, I think, right? Hispanic immigrant who was going to like high school, and ICE literally just showed up at the fucking dude's high school and just randomly fucking detained him, zip tied him, detained him, and he lives in like New York with his family, and everyone's just like, "Excuse me, what the fuck is this? He was just going to school. What is going on here?"
To deport, we've got to stand up, make sure folks have legal services, and then New York City has their back.
Ms. Adams? Yes, Mahmoud Khalil should be released immediately. There is no due process in Donald Trump's America, and that is why we all have to pull together and fight this chaotic Trump administration.
Due process, habeas corpus. Now, what are those?
More individuals that have committed no crime. This should be unacceptable to every American and everyone that lives in this
Thank you, Mr. Stringer.
Is a Jewish American whose wife works at the Jewish Museum.
Also, what are you talking about? Never heard this guy before, but I like his mustache, even though it's not as cool as mine. You talking shit about my mustache? That's kind of fucked up, bro. What the hell?
In Lower Manhattan fighting the Holocaust, fighting to make sure we remember the Holocaust.
Fighting the
I will
Holocaust?
say unequivocally
I wish
that
more
taking
people would.
this man off the streets and others off the streets without any charges or any rationale is a direct horrifying moment for our Constitution. Donald Trump should be ashamed of himself for doing this.
Mr. Blake?
Real?
Home with his family, full stop. It's really that easy, Woody. Extended on this is the appreciation and understanding,
Real?
whether it be Dylan from the Bronx or any of our communities. We should not believe that a convicted felon president...
Blake, you get Chad?
Yeah, you can follow. We have to make sure we protect our immigrants and have more lawyers at our immigration hearings because we should actually know where individuals are so they have a chance to fight for their own justice.
Thank you, Melissa.
Big?
Thank you.
Based?
Moving on to a subject that none of you are discussing much on the campaign trail, but it could reshape.
So, who would have thought that the useless abundance liberal would have had the worst answer? Because, again, abundance liberalism is all just a fucking dog shit attempt at rebranding, well, conservatism, which neoliberalism basically is.
The city in the next few years, thanks to the rapid advance of artificial intelligence. It could improve many things in the city, but it could also
AI.
eliminate thousands of jobs. So the next mayor will likely have some opportunities to replace some city workers with AI technology, and in the process, save hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars. AI will certainly be on the table when city labor contracts expire. So here's the question: is there an area where you would consider replacing city workers
Mustache.
with AI if it saves tax dollars? And would you also offer any protections to city workers? You'll have 30 seconds to answer. We'll begin with
I like this
Mr.
question,
Mustache.
actually.
Well, I think Andrew Cuomo would tell you that he's already replaced a campaign worker who would have written his housing policy with AI because he had it written by ChatGPT. I can tell you that.
That's so good. What a fucking... That's a zinger. Because, yeah, he did fucking do that. One of the references within his fucking housing policy was shit that was pulled from fucking ChatGPT. So you can heavily imply that Andrew Cuomo more than likely used ChatGPT to create his fucking housing policy. You can make the heavy fucking inference to that. So, you know, very good. Get owned, you fucking loser, Andrew Cuomo. But yeah, you know, with the AI, it's pretty bad, generally speaking. We all know what the purpose of, like, AI, generally speaking, is, right? It's meant to just, like, replace workers. Which is why it was a good question that was asked. Because, broadly speaking, like, what do corporations want to do? Want to use, like, AI for? Replace a bunch of workers. Replace, like, menial tasks. Or what is deemed as menial tasks, rather. With a bunch of, like, dumbass, like, robots and computers in order to be able to save money. That's the only purpose of it, right? So I anticipate that a Bunda guy and fucking Andrew Cuomo are probably big fans of this.
To be endorsed by the labor union representing the largest number of city workers, DC 37. And I'm proud of that because my approach to artificial intelligence will be one where we can find efficiencies in the contracts and consultants that we work with the city, but we are not going to use this language of artificial intelligence as a justification for further layoffs of city workers.
Okay, Mr. Mamdani, time. Thank you. Mr. Tilson?
Yeah, I think actually AI is going to be a home run for the city because we are second only to Silicon Valley, the sort of tech hub, the East Coast tech hub for a lot of these West Coast companies. So whatever we might
Of course.
I think we're going to gain if we're smart.
Whoa, my prediction was correct. Abundance guy is worthless on this.
But we've got to stop shooting ourselves in the foot with left-wing madness, like driving away Amazon and the 40,000 jobs that they wanted to bring here. And lastly, I'll say we can use shit-talking.
Shit-talking AOC on that one? Yeah, dude, because, like, the 40,000 jobs at Amazon were going to be, like, very, very fulfilling for, like, New Yorkers. Totally, bro. But I expect nothing less from this dipshit, sniveling fucking loser, abundance liberal, Tilson motherfucker. I mean, you know, it's okay. He's probably, like, going to be completely fucking cooked. Let's be honest here. Bro, you have the same name as the fucking third gym leader from Johto, okay? No one fucking likes her. Everyone has bad memories of her, let's be honest here. Even though, like, beating that milk tank, pretty fucking easy. Let's be honest here, okay? You get a Geodude, you wall the fucking milk tank, you win the game, okay? That's a free tip. That's a free tip for you people.
I think AOC pushed for Amazon not to set up warehouses in New York City because of the labor violations and the tax benefits they would have gotten everything.
Yep.
AI brings a lot of permitting by the city online to...
Thank you, Mr. Tilson. Mr. Cuomo, you have 30 seconds.
Yeah, I am the candidate on the stage who's endorsed by more labor unions than anyone else, of 650,000 working men and women, and I'm proud of it. AI is undeniable. It's coming. There's I think, a tremendous opportunity for economic development here in New York by bringing AI to New York and bringing those businesses here. The West Coast doesn't have a franchise. You hear a lot of four-letter words here. You're free. You hear taxes. You don't hear jobs. We need opportunity. We need jobs. And we want to reorganize government.
I was about to say, taxes is not 4 letters. It's 5 letters. Yeah, it's 5 letters.
AI can help, but we want to protect jobs.
Mr. Myrie, you have 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'm the proud son of a city worker. My dad taught special education in the Bronx.
He didn't really answer the question, to be honest. Here, like AI can help. Like, yeah, in what way? Oh, be able to replace a bunch of people with like more menial who have the more menial jobs. Like, for example, there's like a thing that's going on where like AI is being used as like job interviewers, and everyone's just like, oh, this is like really weird that this is going on. And like a lot of like HR positions also are being like replaced with fucking AI, for example. Because totally, if like an HR violation happens, I would definitely want like some dumbass fucking AI to be the main thing that's like taking care of that potential dispute. Yeah, man, totally.
22 years, I would not be who I am today without it, without what he fought for and what he did for students every day. I believe we have so many city workers that are doing their absolute best to serve this city. We actually have thousands of vacancies in our city workforce now, so I want to hire more city workers to get them to do it. Of course, AI is going to have a role to play going forward. We have to all play a role.
Do you think it looks better to voters to talk over mods when they call time to stop talking? It's very context dependent, honestly. It's very context dependent. I don't have a straightforward answer to that. I think sometimes it makes you look like you're salty and mad. Sometimes it makes it look like you've got a powerful voice that, you know, you're like the underdog trying to speak out. You don't want to get in an argument with the mods ever. That's one lesson for sure.
Ensuring that this is an industry that grows in our city. One way we're going to make us
Thank you, Mr. Myrie.
homes over the next 10 years.
I don't know. It seemed to have worked out for Trump when he did that in the fucking debate with Kamala Harris, because he ended up winning the presidency. Yeah, I'm mostly joking when I say that, of course, but there's a lot of other extenuating circumstances for why fucking Kamala Harris lost the election.
Thank you, Ms. Ramos.
I wrote the law to protect our artists, our actors, image and likeness from AI's use through movie studios. And that's exactly what I want to do. I want to put the power in our workers' hands to help us lead the transition into the use of artificial intelligence. We can't be Luddites, but we do have to make sure that the workers have a say.
Luddites?
Especially when I want to transition them and repurpose them for mental health capacities where we have deep shortages.
What the?
3 strategies I propose to use AI and technology to make government more efficient that won't cost any jobs but will save us money. Last year we paid out over $2 billion to settle 12,000 claims, have an RFP in the field to use machine learning and AI to find patterns, put it on the books of the agencies that cause it so we can actually reduce that. Second, we should have NYCHA vendor scorecards that enable residents to rate the repair vendors that come into their units. We're not doing that right now. We can make much better use of our taxpayer dollars by going with the vendors who actually get the work done. And third, I got 15 seconds.
Sorry, mixed signals.
Oh, I got one more idea for the next time.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Ms. Adams?
You know, I'm not a career politician. I come out of the world of corporate America, so I know the benefit of technology. I actually used to teach tech in another life, so I know the benefits of AI. I think it's something that we need to embrace as New Yorkers. I think that it's something that can bring a lot of profits into New York City. That said, we should not balance AI along with the release of our workers that can do such a great job and are doing such a great job for our city. There is a balance here. As mayor, I will reckon that balance and reconcile that balance so that we do not lose training our workforce towards embracing AI.
Thank you, Mr. Stringer.
Look, I think AI is a great opportunity for the New York City economy, and we should embrace it. But we also have to know that with any new technology comes the job.
I mean, again, like these are like all fine answers and stuff like that. The problem is like generally speaking, when AI, if it's not fucking regulated, especially with what's going on in the big beautiful bill, good luck fucking being able to regulate anything with AI for the next fucking 10 years. Whoa, crazy. Because of like some sneaky little fucking provisions which Marjorie Taylor Greene can't fucking read or listen to, as always, because, well, she's an idiot, for example. But like, the thing is if you can make like use of AI, and AI can have its fucking uses and stuff like that. Generally speaking, if it's like all corporatized and the profit motive is the primary motivating factor, as always, AI is always going to be used as a vestige of, whoa, crazy, being able to help save money by getting rid of what is deemed as more menial fucking work. With the example I mentioned earlier, like AI HR bots or some shit, or AI fucking interviewers and stuff like that. Because that's something that's fucking happening now.
Job of the mayor to protect our workers and our citizens. And I don't think it's an either-or question. I think AI can come in and actually have a benefit to the city workforce. Imagine training new kids at CUNY and places to get into the tech economy. This is one vehicle to do it. Obviously, as mayor, you have to...
By replacing city services with AI?
do that.
Learn to code.
Borough president controller is without question.
Let's go.
Okay. Mr. Blake, I'm sorry, I jumped in. Mr. Blake, if I were, that was my mistake.
Our campaign theme is Tomorrow Begins Today, and that's the epitome of when we talk about AI. As a small business owner, which I manage more than 15,000 people across the country over the years, it's the appreciation of groups such as Adventure or National Gem Consortium or the Knowledge House. So we can be very intentional how AI can be utilized for good. I would say also specifically, we need technology for good. You can track a flight or food, but you cannot track closing up a residential repair in your home. So we have to find better ways. And to your last part of your question, you can do that and equally create jobs by reducing regulation and red tape at the same time.
Candidates, thank you. We have a few short questions, lightning round questions, call them, just to get a glimpse of your thinking on some of the issues that are relevant to New Yorkers. So New Yorkers are feeling stressed about housing in the city, as you've all alluded to, as we know. How much do you pay each month for rent or a mortgage? We'll go left to right.
Oh my God.
Our home is paid. I'm a homeowner.
Okay. Mr. Lynn.
We have a mortgage, one rental unit, the total mortgage on the house, $3,300.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Ramos.
We pay $2,500 a month.
Okay.
Roger, in a rent-stabilized apartment, I grew up in 1300.
Mr. Cuomo.
7,800.
Mr. Tilson.
I own and pay about $5,000 a month in maintenance and taxes.
Mr. Mamdani.
$2,300 for my one-bedroom story.
Mr. Blake.
About $1,800 for the home, their home, for our family.
Okay. Mr. Stringer.
I'm getting ripped off $6,400 a month.
All right, thank you. Helicopter traffic around Manhattan is a constant debate. It's a complaint from many. Should helicopter traffic be limited? We'll go right to left. Mr. Stringer.
Yes.
Mr. Blake.
Absolutely.
Mr. Mamdani.
Yes, we should ban all non-essential helicopter travel.
Mr. Tilson.
Yes, I agree.
Mr. Cuomo.
It should be limited, yes, sir.
Especially out of Westchester.
Mr. Myrie.
Yes, and I co-sponsored legislation in the state to that effect.
Okay. Ms. Ramos.
Stop the chop.
Mr. Lander. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And Ms. Adams?
Already doing the work. We've already passed a bill in the City Council.
Okay. The first foreign visit by a mayor of New York
Nick.
is always considered significant. Where would you go first?
Good question.
That's right, Ms. Adams.
First visit, I would visit the Holy Land.
Of course.
Okay. Mr. Lander. Mr. Lander,
Of course.
Boy, what Trump is doing to Canada, there's a lot of opportunities for us to partner better with them.
Ms. Ramos.
I'd love to meet Claudia Sheinbaum, but I'd probably head to Colombia to my parents' homeland.
Mr. Lander.
Sure.
I'm a proud son of 2 Caribbean immigrants. I represent a robust Caribbean constituency. I'd like to go to the Caribbean as my first visit.
Mr. Cuomo.
Sure.
Given the hostility and the anti-Semitism that has been shown in New York.
Oh yeah, we know.
Yeah, we know.
We know it's Israel.
I'd make my 4th trip to Israel, followed by my 5th trip to Ukraine.
To your 4th trip to Israel? Jesus Christ. I'm gonna also go to Ukraine. Nyeh. Fucking stupid abundance liberal.
2 of our greatest allies fighting on the front lines of the global war on terror.
Mr. Mamdani.
I would stay in New York City. My plans are to address New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs and focus on that.
Mr. Mamdani, can I just jump in? Would you visit Israel as mayor?
I've said.
Why does he get the?
What? Why are you asking about that? Would you want to visit Israel because you didn't vote for that stupid ceremonial fucking bill to recognize the state of Israel for their 77th anniversary? Nyeh. Stupid fucking, like, dumbass Politico smear. Yeah, dude, totally. Because, like, that's, like, a totally fucking relevant thing. All because, like, Zohran Mamdani was just like, yeah, I support BDS because I don't think Palestinian children should be turned into mulch. Yeah, okay. Totally, bro.
The specific Israel, what?
Travel to Israel to stand up for Jewish New Yorkers, and that is what I will be doing. New Yorkers, and I'll be meeting them wherever they are across the 5 boroughs, whether that's in their.
Wait, what was his answer? I'm sorry.
No, as mayor?
I've said travel to Israel to stand up for Jewish New Yorkers, and that is what I will be doing. New Yorkers, and I'll be meeting them wherever they are across the 5 boroughs, whether that's in their synagogues and temples.
There was a cut, and also the audio's desynced now.
Or at their homes, or at the subway platform, because ultimately.
Wait, yeah, there was a cut, wasn't it? Wait, what's the fucking full version of this?
Can I just jump in? Would you visit Israel as mayor?
I've said.
Why does he get the specific Israel? What?
Travel to Israel to stand up for Jewish New Yorkers, and that is what I will be doing. New Yorkers, and I'll be meeting them wherever they are across the 5 boroughs, whether that's in their.
Wait, what was his answer? I'm sorry.
No, as mayor?
I've said travel to Israel to stand up for Jewish New Yorkers.
Yeah, there's a cut there. There's a cut. This is a blatantly fucking dishonest question.
And that is what I will be doing. New Yorkers, and I'll be meeting them wherever they are across the 5 boroughs, whether that's in their synagogues and temples.
There was a cut, and also.
Yeah, there's a cut. There's a cut. And the audio's fucked up because I did a bad job with the cut. Wait, okay, where's the full context? Zohran Mamdani. Guy, I don't even know how to fucking say what this is, right?
So the audio's desynced now.
Or at their homes, or at the subway platform, because ultimately we need to focus on delivering on their concerns.
And just yes or no, do you believe in a Jewish state of Israel?
What the fuck?
Whoa, it's all fucking a Jewish state of Israel. Yeah, dude. Zohran Mamdani, do you think that Israel needs to be a fucking ethno-nationalist state? You know? Do you believe in ethno-nationalism, Zohran Mamdani? Get the fuck out of here with this stupid bullshit. God, this fucking, like, stupid Politico smear. You know, this blatantly fucking dishonest bullshit. Do you believe in fascist ethno-supremacism? Yeah, okay, bro.
I believe Israel has the right to exist.
As a Jewish state?
As a state with equal rights.
He won't say it has the right to exist as Jewish.
That's about as good of an answer as you can get. Wait, but where's, like, the full context, huh? Because this is, like, some clear fucking bad faith fucking bullshit. I think Vosh himself also found the full fucking context of it. Zohran Mamdani, Israel question, New York, mayoral debate. Uh-huh. I want the full fucking context. Candidates on visiting Israel. Okay, we're gonna get a fucking bunch of bullshit, right? Because I want to find the what did he actually fucking say? Because there was a cut there.
As the mayor,
Mr. Mamdani, can I just jump in? Would you visit Israel as mayor?
I will be doing, as the mayor, I'll be standing up for Jewish New Yorkers, and I'll be meeting them wherever they are across the 5 boroughs, whether that's in their synagogues and temples, or at their homes, or at the subway platform, because ultimately we need to focus on delivering.
There's still a cut there, right?
On their concerns.
And just yes or no, do you believe in a Jewish state of Israel?
I believe Israel has the right to exist.
Not
as a Jewish state?
Notice.
As a state with equal rights.
He won't, he
Not
won't
as a
say it
Jewish
has a
state.
right to exist as a Jewish state. Be very
And
clear
his
on
answer was no, he won't visit Israel.
Okay, again, I want to see the full fucking thing, right? Answer about Israel. I want the full context. Is this the full fucking context? Mamdani, which country he'd visit first, seemed innocent, but it's a loaded nature. Uh-huh. I want the full context.
Mayor of New York is always considered significant. Where would you go first?
I would
go to Israel.
By my fifth trip allies, front lines of terror.
In New York City, my plans are to address New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs and focus on that.
Mr. Mamdani, can I just jump in? Would you visit Israel as mayor?
I will be doing, as the mayor, I'll be standing up for
That's the cut again.
Jewish New Yorkers, and I'll be meeting them wherever they are.
That's still the fucking cut again. I want the full context, right?
Mr. Lander, sorry.
Yeah, I'd like to go to the Caribbean.
To Colombia, to my parents.
Anti-Semitism that has been shown in New York, I would go to Israel.
Mr. Tilson, where would you go?
Yeah, I'd make my 4th trip to Israel.
Mr. Mamdani.
I will in New York address New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs and focus on that.
Mr. Mamdani, can I just jump in? Would you visit Israel as mayor?
I will be doing, as the mayor, I'll be standing up.
No, so Jacobin is saying also this weird cut was not made by myself. My screen recording or editing
Jewish
software.
New Yorkers, and I'll be meeting them wherever dogs and subway focus.
Israel?
I don't know. Unlike you, I answered.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mamdani. Mr. Blake, where would you go on your first foreign visit as mayor of New York?
My full name is Michael Alexander Blake. I'm named after Michael Manley.
Still, where's the full context? What's the full fucking context? What's up, Zane? Because that question, by the way, is a bunch of fucking bullshit. There was a cut there. There is a cut there. Yeah, a bunch of stupid dipshits, of course, are complaining about the fact that why are you not supporting the Jewish state of Israel? You know, the ethno-nationalism of what Israel wants. Why aren't you doing that? Where's the full fucking clip? Where is it? There was a cut there. What's the full fucking context? Did Zohran Mamdani say what the full context is? Because that shit was fucking dishonest. AOC. Clips from the debate. Clips from the debate mostly. I'm not fucking finding the, I am not finding the fucking, I want the fucking full context. I had to explain the difference between a Jew and a Zionist today. To who exactly? I want that full fucking context. What's the full context of that? Because there's a fucking cut there. Let's be honest here. Full of shit there. Hopefully the context does eventually get fucking posted. I do think that needs to be posted, needs to be clarified, because that was blatantly dishonest there. So, that's cool. Ah, dumbass on Instagram. Fun. Lovely. Yeah, there was a cut there. There was a cut there. Either by the studio or someone else. Zohran Mamdani said something else, but they cut out some of the stuff. Probably some form of clarifying statement because they want to make Zohran look as bad as possible because, again, he doesn't support Israel being a fucking ethno-state. Like, he even specified himself, he wants equal rights for all, right? We can literally just play the bit again.
Why does he get the specific Israel? What?
Travel to Israel to stand up for Jewish New Yorkers, and that is what I will be doing New Yorkers, and I'll be meeting them wherever they are across the 5 boroughs, whether that's in their...
Wait, what was his answer? I'm sorry.
No, Mayor? I've said travel to Israel to stand up for Jewish New Yorkers, and that is what I will be doing New
So right there, that was the cut. You can hear the cut. It was not a clean cut.
Meeting them wherever they are across the 5 boroughs, whether...
And now the audio is desynced. You can tell. The audio is going on, and it seems like there's a little bit of lag between Zohran speaking right now. So, there's a cut there.
Temples.
There was a cut, and also the audio is desynced now.
Or at their homes, or at the subway platform, because ultimately we need...
It's actually insane.
And just yes or no, do you believe in a Jewish state of Israel?
What the fuck?
I believe Israel has the right to exist.
As a Jewish state?
As a state with equal rights.
It's a good answer, by the way, to the to that question. Like, do you think it should exist as a Jewish state? Because obviously the reason why that question's being asked is, again, for ethno-nationalist reasons. And he's saying, like, nah, equal rights.
And his answer was no, he won't visit Israel.
I said
that's what he was trying to say.
No, unlike you answer.
What the fuck is this? It's a lightning round. Here's like 4. Who was the person who asked that? The woman, the moderator asked that. Was that the political woman? Which woman asked that?
I want to be very clear. I believe every state should
Yeah, it was the political woman.
be a state of equal rights.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Blake, where would you go on your first foreign visit as mayor of New York?
My full name is Michael Alexander Blake.
Like, look at that, dude. Dude started speaking, and the fucking question was still being asked. The audio is heavily fucking desynced. I guess they don't have very good audio engineers, I suppose, at this news station. Nice fucking meme.
I'm named after Michael Manley Alexander Bustamante, so of course,
Blue Jacket Lady, not Blue Lady.
It's my fellow Patois Jamaicans out here.
Okay, Mr. Stringer?
I'm gonna go with you.
I don't know why the audio got desynced. I don't know what happened there.
I'm sorry.
My goal would be to take my first trip to Israel. My wife's work in this area means a lot to our family, and it could coincide with my young son Miles' bar mitzvah. We'd like to have a bar mitzvah.
Okay, but a minute left. What's your favorite go-to pizza
That
spot?
was fucking weird, dude. Like, to wait, like, not even the question about Israel or anything, but the rant, like, to specifically ask, like, hey, your quick lightning round for you specifically. What the fuck was that?
Fine. Mr. Cuomo, we'll start with you.
Gabby's in Queens.
Mr. Myrie.
Gino's Pizza, Flatbush Ave.
Ms. Ramos.
I don't know why the audio is so desynced now.
Mr. Landon.
As far as Inwood.
Ms. Adams.
Alba, Queens Boulevard.
Mr. Stringer.
It's Kids' Choice, Joe's.
Mr. White.
Vinny's, Grand Concourse, Burnside.
Mr. Mamdani.
I grew up in Morningside Heights, so I have to say Cornets.
Okay.
I'm Nino's in Staten Island.
Okay. All right. And real quickly,
Let's hear
this
it.
pizza place down.
Of course the fucking abundance liberal would choose fucking Staten Island. Of course.
I'm ineligible, I'm afraid, to be New York City mayor. I don't really like pizza.
Your reaction, we already heard this one. To the Knicks firing their head coach, Tom Thibodeau. Miss Adams. Thumbs down. Mr. Thumbs down. Thumbs down. Thumbs up.
Our goal is to win the finals, not to get to the
Thank you all. Thank you all for a spirited debate. That's all the time we have. Again, we thank the candidates for an informative evening tonight. We all.
Okay. Like, final thoughts on this, honestly, is that...
Okay, cool. I guess we're done. No more meme? We're done with the meme? Lovely. Okay. I don't care about your final thoughts, Vosh. It's my final thoughts. Haha. Fuck you, Vosh. Yeah, you son of a bitch. My final thoughts. Overall, very good debate there by Zohran Mamdani, as expected. You know, shouldn't be really surprised. Even though, like, the parrying there of the question there of the Israel, you know, based off of what was not cut and desynced there, because, well, guess what? I guess the CIA does not have very, very good, audio engineers or something. You know, brain drain is affecting everyone. And Cuomo, he came off as extremely whiny, very bitchy, a liar. Like, here's the shuck and jive stuff, you know. Is Andrew Cuomo consciously lying, or can he just not remember? Cuomo remark in an interview takes clarifying. Albany Attorney General Andrew M. Cuomo's staff spent much of Thursday explaining Mr. Cuomo's use of shuck and jive, a term with racial overtones, during a radio interview on Wednesday about the presidential race. So, whoa, Cuomo is lying. Who would have thought? And has also, like, taken a bunch of super PAC money and has violated the city's laws on, you know, the amount of money that he can take from fucking super PACs. And as a result, his money has been capped as a result. So that's pretty cool. So he came off as very stupid, very fucking whiny. A lot of Cuomo hate, which is great, fantastic. I let Zohran Mamdani sort of be able to, you know, do his fucking thing. That Whitney Tilson guy, whoa, abundance liberal, fucking loser. No one likes him. Very cool and very good. Brad Lander and Michael Blake. I love the Cuomo hate. Very good. I think they're pretty solid candidates as well. You know, I guess if you were to put like a number 2 and a number 3, I mentioned Brad Lander before as like a number 2. Well, obviously Zohran is the best out of all of them, but you know, Zohran was mostly just kind of unperturbed. Let's be honest here, mostly just unperturbed. Everyone's gonna fucking soy out and complain about the fucking cut clip there, the clip chimping attempt there by what is it? Was it NBC? I think it was like an NBC like local affiliate that was trying to like get the clip chip there. So that's cool. So fantastic, excellent, and we're probably not gonna get the full fucking context on there. So CIA doing everything possible in order to make sure that Zohran doesn't win the mayoralship of New York. Who would have thought? But it's okay. AOC with the endorsement, which is certainly going to change quite a lot of stuff. Because, fuck these guys. These fucking dishonest hacks and pieces of shit. So, overall, very, very good debate there by Zohran Mamdani. He did really, really well. His attacks on Cuomo, premium. When Cuomo tried to do weak, whiny, little bitchy new jabs and counterattacks on him, didn't really land. He sounded very petulant, like a fucking loser. And I guess he needs the help of the fucking network to do sneaky little cuts to try to make him sound fucking better. So, that's cool. And it's in a fucking lightning round question. Zohran Mamdani has to get like an extra fucking question about fucking going to Israel over like some stupid like Politico smear hack hit job based off the fact that Zohran didn't want to go along with like some stupid dumbass fucking ceremonial vote. Get the fuck out of here. Based off of like, oh, Israel being a shining city on top of the hill. Yeah, right. Get the fuck out of here. Dishonest fucking hackery, as always. So, I don't think it... I think, like, Zohran, with the AOC sort of endorsement, and with how well I think he performed in this debate, he's going to definitely benefit significantly more, and Cuomo's probably going to suffer quite a bit from it. But, as I've talked about before, the inner machinations of the average voter is an enigma, and if you seek to try to understand it, you will want to commit self-delete. So, we'll see overall what happens. There's supposed to be another debate in about a week. Probably check that out as well, see what happens. And, yeah, I don't think there's really much else to say about it. Zohran Mamdani did really, really well in that debate. Andrew Cuomo came off as a bitch. I liked Michael Blake and Brad Lander constantly tearing into Cuomo because he's a bitch. Let's be honest here. And Whitney Tilson pulling out 1% with his like stupid abundance agenda bullshit. I guess he has that. He needs to give the real estate developers that good fucking sucky, that fucking good gluck in order to be able to maintain some form of fucking relevance. That fucking loser. But yeah, Zohran absolutely fucking killed it. And I think he's probably going to... I don't know. Will he benefit more from it? It's always hard to fucking tell with like debates, to be honest, how a particular person is doing. But the AOC endorsement is probably the more important thing there for Zohran. So I think he's probably going to benefit mostly because of that. At least that's what I think.